beauty to draw us strange near. It is more than a word, it's how we start truly rebuilding. Oh yes, with a change of heart. Building communities with strong bonds and keeping them real tight, with all neighbors helping throughout day and night. Open the gates of unity, let peace and love find a way towards a future of hope for a brighter day. When we look in the mirror, it is quite obviously this land that was so rich and so now begging to be free. Can't we see there's need for change? Cause we all share the pain, with sorrow and grief, time and time again. Too much silence is found where love used to live. We've become stiff-necked, can't find ways to forgive.
All right, so folks, we're here tonight.
We can all play our parts.
This lovely morning, and of course, I would have told you before about an event coming up this Sunday.
So let us rise up strong, no more breaking apart. No, no. Heal the wounds deep down with a brand new heart. Oh yes. Come together, no more playing roles. Time to stand as one with united souls.
Stabilize here a bit more before we continue with our program. But she's here with me right now, and it's an event that will feature kids, and youngsters trading. They'll be trading as well, and that stuff will come your way. You'll hear more about that shortly here on Class FM Radio 92.9. Okay.
It's a pre-Father's Day planter sale going down on Sunday, June 14 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Net's Residence in West End. On sale, ornamental plants, herbs like mint, lemongrass, and basil, garden decor, soil, pots, fertilizers, and so much more. You can't afford to miss this massive pre-Father's Day planter sale at Net's Residence in West End on Sunday, June 14 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I will see you at Nets in West End this Sunday.
How I'd love to dance with my father again.
It's a pre-Father's Day planter sale going down on Sunday, June 14 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Net's Residence in West End. On sale, ornamental plants, herbs like mint, lemongrass, and basil, garden decor, soil, pots, fertilizers, and so much more. You can't afford to miss this massive pre-Father's Day planter sale at Net's Residence in West End on Sunday, June 14 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I will see you at Nets in West End this Sunday.
How I'd love to dance with my father. You better let God drive your life.
JMS Department Store, the blue building at the far end of the former Jumbo Plaza, Water Swamp Road, is having a huge 50% discount blowout sale. Yes, you heard me right. A massive 50% discount sale of all clothing store-wide. Come on down and grab these sizzling hot deals on men, women, and children clothing in various various styles and sizes. Don't you dare wait until it's too late. These amazing low prices won't last forever. Spread the word around town. JMS Department Store is now having a 50% discount sale on all clothing. Remember, early shoppers catch the best deals. JMS Department Store is the place where you pay less for more.
But I'm always willing to go. So you better let God drive your life.
Okay, you heard that. So yes, I'm back to you now. And of course, you know, I mentioned to you earlier that the initiative that is coming up this Sunday at the James Webster Park there in the Valley Anguilla. And it's an event that's dubbed, it's been dubbed She Evolves. Many moguls, dream the big day and fun day. And to update us right now, to bring up the speed on that right now, we have with us in the building, Sherianna Vanderpool. Sherianna, let me say pleasant good morning to you. Welcome to Class FM Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
All right. Now, Sherianna, tell me a bit about this initiative now. Is it the first time? And let's speak a bit about what is She Evolves Many Moguls Dream Big Day and Fun Day all about?
Okay, so the fun day, well, I think I should actually say what She Evolves is about.
Yes, first of all.
It is an organization, a non-profit organization that was actually started, and it is gauged towards creating safe spaces for women to flourish, to grow, to reset.
Yes.
And it was something that I actually started because of my daughter.
Oh, your daughter, okay.
Yes, because of my daughter. While I cannot change the world, of course, I cannot change the entire Anguilla. I decided that when I looked at her one day, I said, your future is basically bleak. And while, like I said, I cannot change the world, I at least can change part of my surroundings and create something for her.
Yes.
And the reason why I decided to do the mini moguls is because she would have started a business with her other friends.
Okay.
It is called the Lemon Ups, and they would have done it inspired by the Kid Entrepreneur Fest that was done at Campus Q.
Okay.
And because of that initiative, they loved making money. And after that, they decided to participate in the Department of Youth and Culture that was at Great House, and afterwards they would do it from time to time by proctors and also by the library.
Okay.
So afterwards I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and extend this to other kids as well, to give them an opportunity, because you keep hearing, oh, the youth is the youth, basic of the future, and we're not actually creating much avenues for the youth to actually do so, if I'm being much honest. And for me, I believe in creating generational wealth. Opportunities we didn't have, we need to give to our kids.
Amen.
And I didn't decide to segregate it this time, or segregate it on a whole, because like I said, if we are creating safe spaces for women, or trying to evolve women to become the best versions of themselves, then of course we need to also give that opportunity to the women that are raising boys as well.
Yes.
So that's why I decided not to segregate it and just open it up to all kids. And I really would appreciate it if everybody come out and support the kids, really and truly. That is my big reason for doing it.
Dream big day and fun day for sure. Now, so I take it that you're gonna have various stalls on that day at the park, various stalls by the number of kids, children, and the support teams on that day, right?
Definitely.
And registration is open still, or is closed off now?
The registration is actually going to close off at 12 because I don't want to have it too compact. I wanted to have at least 15 stalls, and right now I am at 15, to be honest.
Okay, at 15. All right.
Correct.
So this event takes place at the James
Rana Webster Park.
Yes, on Sunday coming. From what time?
It is going to be from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
All right. And in terms of the offerings on that day, I know that you have an idea of registration of what will be sold on that day there by the young ladies of Anguilla. I must commend you for this one, though. Young ladies entrepreneurship, that's very important. You mentioned generational wealth, and I support that 1,000%. So among the items that will be sold on that day at this mini moguls event.
I have some kids, like I said, my daughter, they'll be selling lemonade as well as treats. I have another young lady, she'll be doing the same thing as well. She'll be selling treats, various treats. I have another young lady, well, a lot of the kids will be selling treats. A lot of them are into baked goods, so a lot of them will be selling treats, a lot of local drinks. Some of them will be selling patties. I have one young man who I'm fascinated about. He'll be selling different trees, like plants. He'll be selling that as well. I have another young man who'll be selling Pokemon cards.
Yes, sir.
And that kind of got me excited because I can remember rushing home from school to go watch Pokemon, me and my brother in front of the TV.
Yes.
So that kind of got me excited. But a lot of the kids are into the treats, and a lot of them are into the homemade. I have one little girl, my cousin, she is going to be making various necklaces and various, how you say it? Bracelets and different things like that. So all of those are handmade. So I'm excited to see what the kids actually come with on that day. Now, as part, I will also be having a tent as well that will sell various things that are sold, like, you know, when you go to the sports day, and it would have different treats as well. I should also have Asmo that's going to be there, and Kyle will also be there selling ice cream. I have Kanita that will be doing face painting, and I have another lady, she will be doing hennas as well.
Okay, good. Okay, on that day. Okay, good. So folks can come out and to be a part of this, and of course we want them to support all the stores, right? The people are
yes, definitely.
Turn out in your numbers and purchase, from the children, right? Yeah, for sure on that day. So lots going on that day, folks. So come out, support the youngsters. This is the first She Evolves, and I love that idea, the name She Evolves. She Evolves. That's a good one, Shariana. I love that one for sure. I guess you came up with that name, right? That's your concept.
It's actually something that I would have taken from TD Jake's daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts. She have Women Evolve, and I was fascinated with the name, so I just took off Woman, of course, and I just put She Evolved.
She Evolves, and of course we have the youngsters, like these youngsters, they're evolving, you know.
Correct.
And generational wealth, I know we can go on for a long time, guys. You can go on too, I know for sure. But generational wealth is a very important thing for us, because we see other people in our islands, our country, and across the region, other people, how they nurture the kids, how they graft them, how they shape and mold them in business. And we see what happens, you know. Those folks come up and, for example, the Asians, after a while they faded away in the background, and the kids we know here and then will go to school, they learn math and English for the most part, you know. And but today we are seeing them as leading businessmen and women in Anguilla.
Correct.
And that has been done through generational wealth. That's how you creating
opportunities for your children.
For the children.
Because we didn't have these opportunities when we were going to school. We didn't. Even like I tell persons, in me working in insurance, especially working in the life department at Nagico, I tell persons, if you have the opportunity to go ahead and open life insurance for your kids, especially life insurance that accumulate cash savings, that is also helping to build generational wealth. From time they are nothing until they are big men and women. Because what happens is that you put them in an opportunity to already build their network, that's one, and also to have some form of savings, to understand what's the value of money, what is like to have money, what is like to be responsible for money, what is like to actually go ahead and generate money. That's very important, because me and my thought is I only learned what the viability of life insurance is after I went to the bank to get a loan. And I realized how important it is, and I work in insurance. I just thought it was, okay, you know, you're always here. If you die, you leave something for your loved ones. That's important. But you never consider the fact that some of these policies help you to accumulate cash savings. Cash savings that your children can go ahead and take a certain amount from. Cash savings that after a while, if they no longer want the policies. Because for me, I actually raised my daughter to be a billionaire. So she might need it, but at least you're putting your children in a position to have something. Even if that does not happen.
Understanding insurance is very critically important, because it was the first time I heard about that would have been through Osborne Fleming years ago. Osborne Fleming, we were morning at the breakfast table years ago, and said, you know, insurance, you can create this through life insurance. He said to me years ago, I took money from here and did the XYZ, and I couldn't believe it. It was my very first time, I recall many years ago, hearing that was possible.
And it's true. It's definitely true. And it does not affect, you have the option, the minimum is 10,000 US, and you have the option from there to actually go ahead and open it from whatever amount that you like. And it does not affect the sum insured in terms of what you open it for. It does not affect your cash savings. So you can go ahead and take from your cash savings while still having your policy active. And the younger you open it for your kids, the more money they accumulate, the more you put them in a position, because I know we have persons who open surgical policies. A lot of people are aware of that, especially the older heads. And now they're in positions to have thousands of dollars. They can come and take whatever they like and still have their policy active, whether for a loan, whether they're leaving it for their loved ones. To me, we as parents need to make our children better than us, way better than us.
But this speaks now to financial literacy too. I mean, because these things are not known unless you're involved in this in the sector.
Correct.
And it wasn't really taught to us either. It's now perhaps now a bit more, but it needs to be a bit more education in these areas. But you're right about that, and we need to do a bit more. And what you're doing right now via She Evolves Mogul thing is also helping our kids to immerse themselves in business also, and to become entrepreneurs as well. So great ideas for sure, and I hope that you made a point. You intend to raise her to be a billionaire.
Yeah, a billionaire.
You're going beyond the moon. You're going up there. That's the dream. That's the dream.
That's definitely what it is. That's why when she asked me to put her involved in any forms of sports and any form of activity, sure, no problem. Because like I told her, I am raising you to be not just a billionaire, but a triple threat. You're not just going to have one sport under your belt, but you're going to have multiple sports under your belt. And even if you don't actually go ahead on the Olympic level, one of those levels, you can actually go ahead and give back, like for example, Coach Vance, Coach Neil, those different coaches around here that might not have gone to participate in Olympics, but they can go ahead and mold our kids and instill discipline in our kids as well to reach that point, hopefully. And this event is not just going to be a one-time something. A friend of mine, she would have given me an idea to actually do it every 3 months. So every 3 months, it will be called the Mini Moguls Children's Marketplace. So children can come out and sell whatever it is they like, whether it is actually goods that I would have purchased and want to resell it, it's actually homemade goods. They can come out and actually sell them, because like I said again, our job as parents, our job as persons who have knowledge of what it's like to want to do better, to want to become better, need to ensure that our children are better. We need to make sure of that. We can't just sit around and talk amongst ourselves and say, this is a problem, this is an issue, this is what we should do, but we're not going out there and actually trying to effect change. And I agree with financial literacy. It's something I wish we knew in school. I wish it's something that is going to be taught in school. It should be taught in school. I even believe in skills being taught in school. Academics is important. But what happens when academics is not going to be able to get you a foot in the door in terms of being able to make money for yourself? What happens if the wall shuts down again? The persons who could cook, plait hair, do nails, trust you me, they're gonna make money. They're gonna make money regardless. Because even if you're locked down, you wanna look good.
I know.
So they're gonna make money. You're gonna go with your mask on. You're gonna sit down here and get your hair plait, get your nails on. They wanna make money. So why not make sure our kids have something that when we are gone, they have something to fall back on.
It is a great way to think, Sherianna, for sure. And again, the way how you're speaking there is the way how the Asians and other people raise their kids, trust me. And we, back in the day too, growing up, used to have the mindset, but we evolved over the years too, away from that, and we became contented with a job only, and that's the problem too. You must be able to do more than a job, and the job, while a job is cool, a job alone won't get you there. You must be creative, you must be innovative, and get going in your mind, because you'll make more money out there doing your thing. A lot more, and we are seeing other people doing it right here in Anguilla, right here. So why not our kids? I mean, why not? We should encourage them to do the very same thing.
To make them way better than us.
Much better than us for sure. So I support what you're doing with this She Evolves Mogul event, the Big Dream event, and of course Anguilla come out on Sunday. It's a good day, Sunday after Sunday, all day in the park.
After church, come out, bring the kids to have some fun. And my goal and my dream for this entire event is I want every single child stall to be sold out.
That's good.
That's what I want. I want the children to be so excited about the money they make now. Not like my daughter who want to go Gabs and want to go Blanchard's one time.
She want to go one time. She want to go out one time.
She want to go one time. What can I get with my money? That's her. And she love lip gloss. So that's it. If you're selling lip gloss, my daughter will buy your lip gloss.
How old is she?
She is making 13 in August. God's will.
Big girl. She want things. She want nails soon too.
Oh gosh.
Nails and all the stuff and all the glam, all the glam stuff for sure.
She's a glamour girl. Yes.
So guys, be a part of it this coming Sunday from 11 o'clock, 11:30,
11 o'clock to 7.
7 to 7. That's a good thing. And again, you're gonna have some 15 stores there. Selling a variety of items from ranging from drinks down to what? Ranging from drinks, homemade drinks down to what again? Everything.
You're gonna have everything. You have somebody who's selling goat water as well. That's something that a grandmother's passing down to her son. I think that's very beautiful. You have, like I said, another young man who'll be selling plants as well. I think that is great. A young farmer. People might think that farming is important, important,
Yes.
but it's very, very, very important, especially when they had the agricultural fest. I think that is something they should do every quarter.
Yeah.
I think that was a really good something, a really great project, and I think that is something that they should actually go ahead and continue. Not just a one-time thing, not just an annual something. You need to make people understand that trade skills are just as important as sitting down in an office and doing work.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Because
sir.
at one point in time, we're gonna need more tradesmen than anything. Definitely.
For sure, guys. You got it right. All right. So, Shariana, again, I want to thank you and for coming in.
Thank
and,
you
supporting
as well, Hammer.
our support in a big way on this one. This is a big.
I
one,
hope
man.
to
The
see
kids-
you on Sunday. Come
I'm
out
gonna
to
come out
support the
there.
kids.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
come
hope
see what's
so,
happening.
and I want you to support every single stall.
Every stall.
Every that is
stalls.
yes, every
15
single
stalls.
stall. I want
Yeah.
you to support.
All right,
Even if
Shariana.
it's just a donation, I want you to support every single stall
I
on
hear you,
Sunday.
Shariana.
Make sure you come in. I can be looking for you.
I'll be out there, Sharon. I'll be out on Sunday and to the stores and see what's happening there for sure. To support the kids, that's for sure. I often support these events because I believe in the youngsters of the land. I believe in developing our young people. I believe in those kids honing their skills. Because I mean, I often complain about the other persons who are getting ahead of our kids, and
Correct.
I would support anything that would help to propel our kids forward.
Thank
So
you.
I'll be
Thank
there on
you.
Sunday, God willing, to support the. It's called what? It's called the She Evolves.
Mini Moguls,
Many
Dream
more
Big
Dream
Fun Day.
Big Fun Day for sure. Thank you, Shariana.
Thank you
proud
as
of man.
well.
Keep up the good works, okay?
Thank
All right,
you.
Bye bye.
Have a great day.
Bye bye. All right. So, folks, last of in the morning time. So, Shariana Vanderpool there for you folks, and again, she's helping her daughter really, and it is a She Evolves, a Dream Big Fun Day coming up. Yeah, okay, Shariana, all the best to you, man, and
You too, love. Take care.
all the best, man. So those are my people there. The daughter of Gretna and father Jadoon Rahil Massive. That's a Rahil Massive right there, and you can hear, and she's a Jadu. You hear the words, and they are natural speakers. They are natural orators. They are natural orators, man. And Shariana can go on for days, non-stop for sure. And I support her and I support the initiative big time. That's for sure, right? So, folks, and class from here in the morning time right now. So stand by next for Rastaman Wasi. Rastaman Wasi is up next right here on Class FM Radio 92.9. So support the kids, folks, and this is a great idea. I love what's happening there, man. The kids are doing great, and they are now ramping up business, and we need more of that in our society. We need more of that in our society for sure. We here on Class FM 92.9. We are in full support of our young people. Okay, we are full support of our young people and these initiatives, right? So right now, let me get a Wasi's track going. I'm here now for him, and he'll be up next, and to be followed by the Minister of Infrastructure. Yes, we'll be also on our deck today here on our Thursday program. So just hold the spot that you've got. Hold the spot.
Blessed are they that keeps the commandments, for they have a right to the tree of life. Don't presses, I say, cannot enter. Hypocrites too cannot enter. Jack come quickly, it's reward for you and me. hypocrites too can enter. Jah cometh quickly, it's reward for you and me to judge you by the words that you do. No liars and thieves cannot enter. No bad-minded people cannot enter. No false prophets and false teachers cannot enter. Oh, blessed are they that keep the commandment. No dumb princes cannot enter. No.
Okay, we're pressing for time, so watch this here right now, guys. And so I did mention 11:30 for the minister. Take note that I'm gonna push you back 15 minutes there about. So more like 11:40 there about. Check me out there. But right now, Wash is here, and Wash have a lot to say today as well. Brother Washi, my brother, pleasant good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Yes. Good morning to Brother Hammer. Thanks for having us in your studio once again. And God bless you. God bless all the good people, all the positive people on the planet here in Anguilla. God bless you guys. And you just keep on asking for your blessing, because as long as you're positive and you ask God for blessing, you will get blessings. You just have to be positive.
Yeah.
You know, Brother Hammer, I want to big up. You know, I was supposed to say something about the boat race last Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to. You remember we had a boat race talk the time before?
Yeah.
Anyhow, I want to pick up the police officers first, the Marine brothers. They did a good job. One boat breakdown, they make sure that they take them ashore in one piece, and it was nice, and I respect those things. When I see officers doing good things, it compels me to say something, you know.
Yes,
and if they're doing bad, and I know, it's the same thing, it compels me to say things.
We have to say good, what's good, you know.
Yeah, man.
But in that, while you're not with police, though, I wanted to raise this point quickly with you, because I raised it some time ago, and I was not happy with what I was seeing. Washi, over the last, back in the day, I grew up method that way. From days of Lil Sam, Christopher, getting me those guys, RPF, Police Week of activities.
Yeah.
Normally it takes place in January for all the years. More than over 40 years now, more than that. Washi, in the last couple of years, I've witnessed that week being diluted, being diminished here in Anguilla. Not a lot of attention being paid to it.
Wow.
And the more that Anguillans who are born Anguillans when they first retire from the force retire out, seeing that week being watered down doesn't have the same impact. No passion, no drive. And this year, I sat back quietly and observed it. There was nothing happening on Police Week in January.
Supposed to be in January.
They gave a little speech, and that was all we would have gotten. And we cried out loud. I said, "Hey, what is going on?" Police Week happens every year in January. We have dinners, we have Jeep raffles, all these things, and this time around, one little meek speech by the Commissioner of Police, and that's all you're going to have?
Really?
That's what they did. That's what they would have done to us.
But brother, man, who's supposed to be really responsible for that?
The police. Okay? But I recognize that Paro retired, Alice retired, Amethyst, they're no longer there. All the Emirates, they're all gone.
And Williams.
All the folks who are there out of the force now. So that week that normally brings pride to policing and make us all feel good. Police dinner, dance, gala, Jeep, raffles, and all these things. It was they were about to go sleep. We highlighted the issue as a weakening of the culture here in Anguilla, and I said this is how we're going to force, and I said the force has changed forever. After that, after those concerns, they came back now yesterday and said they have a police week next week from the 14th to the 20th, and I read through they have to line up again, and I'm still not happy with the lineup now. But Washi, the truth is this with the RAPF, and it's not to hurt anybody who are there, or to me to insult anybody. We don't have Angolans in that force. That force is no longer, what it used to be. The way the culture is changing, Washi, and that's my concern. And my fear is that we will never get that force back in our hands in our lifetime.
No. Not even after us, because I'll tell you something, brother, am I right?
That force is
The
gone.
force that we have right now is not Anguilla force. That force belongs to the British.
I wanted to say that a while ago. I pulled back on saying that it is not what it used to be. That's why I said
force
that.
belongs to the British.
That force is now gone. It's gone, and to my mind, it's gone for about our next couple of decades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe forever.
And when this morning I was speaking to someone about it, and I was told that it's difficult for Anguillans now who even apply to be in the force to get in the force.
That's good.
I've been told that it was made difficult for Anguillans who wanted to apply to be in the force to get in there. Okay. So they don't have it under control.
See.
All the things that parados guys would have done. Concerts in the village, bingos, all sort of plays.
Yeah, they used to have some really good times.
Good stuff in there. That is gone.
Raffling vehicles and stuff, you know. Yes, have some good times.
That stuff is outside.
Wow.
Because the folks who are there now, and with all due respect to them, they are not really into this. They're here adopted Anguillans, but they are not into what we're into, you see. And we're going to see all of those rich traditions and cultural things die out.
It wouldn't hurt these guys.
No.
Really.
No.
It would hurt us.
Us are the people.
But it wouldn't hurt these guys.
They don't feel that.
No.
So what they do now, what they're now doing is reacting to the criticism they leveled against them right now with what's happening now. But I mean, to come now in June, this type of thing now, you have taken out.
Everybody's spirit and gone there already.
I ain't feeling that again.
Yes, spirit and gone.
You done destroy that whole thing. You destroy that whole thing already, and this is what we're doing. We are every day losing more and more vital aspects of the culture and vital aspects of Anguilla. We're losing control. We are losing more and more control.
More and more.
We're losing control
in all areas, you know.
In business sector, we're losing
in all areas, you know.
Our law enforcement, you name it. Even in the church, we're losing control.
In all areas, even in our population numbers.
We're out of control.
Everything.
We're losing control. Okay, so we're losing everything every single day. And I think it's important for us to raise the alarm and to just to warn them, because there's nothing we can do about it, but to warn Anguillians that you are losing control daily. Every day
more and
tick
more.
of the clock,
Every day
you
more
are
and
losing
more.
more and more of it, right? And so why we make noise about certain things here and there, and I would be surprised, Wasi, very soon, and it could be the next couple of election cycles too in Anguilla. You're going to see either Arabs or Asians in the House of Assembly walking.
Next election, you can see that.
Okay, because our
Next
culture,
election, you can see
we
that.
have been diluted.
The only thing would have pushed that back if we had continued with our district voting and nothing else.
You're gonna have a lot of dilution going on.
Because there was enough hell. That was supposed to be enough hell for us.
You're gonna see a lot of other things happening in Anguilla.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
What's happening in the RAPF right now is just a snapshot as to what is going to happen right across this community here in Anguilla. We're going to face it, okay? So that is a very interesting thing to take note of. How in a short time they were able to dismantle that Holy Week as if it's nothing to them, and throw it away, you see?
Whose idea? Bring that up. Who's the architect for that?
You can't blame them, you know, because remember you were really born in Anguilla. You walk in Anguilla. You want to be here, so we respect you, we love you that way too. But you're really born here. You really ain't born here, right? And you don't got the same drive. I born here.
Don't have that.
I would have seen Pyro and them boys and the kids and them working hard. So I would say, boy, I gotta keep this going. This is Anguilla thing. But I felt like, boy, he ain't got any spirit. He ain't had no part of his spirit. He really ain't truly ain't care what that part there. You see? That's the problem you're facing. He don't really he's not really that. When you're from a country, it's a different swing, you know.
Of course.
It's a different thing altogether.
Of course.
The way you feel about Anguilla, you who are not born, you can't feel the same way. You may love Anguilla. You can't feel the same way like me.
No.
You cannot feel how I feel about Anguilla.
No.
Not you. I have a different feeling for Anguilla. This is where I'm from. You understand that? And while you can appreciate Anguilla,
see, our feelings is embedded in our island, you know.
I'm telling you,
our feelings is embedded. These guys feeling they ain't embedded. There's some of them love here, some of them want to live here forever.
They love it too, but that kind of feeling they don't have.
But they wouldn't feel no downfall from that if it don't happen.
Yeah.
We are the ones, whether we are officers or not, we are the ones that can feel that, because for us that was, this was something that was going on for, you say, about 40 years maybe?
By more than 40 years, a long time.
So why it got...
Because the issue here, Wasi, is that there are no Anguillians in a high command to plan these things. You see
who's first and who's against us?
People can get that in many other areas.
Yeah.
You can get that stuff in health, education.
Every department in Anguilla, you get it. Everything.
You can get that stuff for sure because Anguillians are losing power. That's why sometimes I make noise when I see them appoint other people, you know. I say, man, you know, hold on to your Anguillan, support your Anguillan, educate them, support them, promote them. Okay, because that's how you can save some of Angola for your children
Of
too.
course.
When you put it out so I mean, and again, we as a small country, and someone said to me earlier, the hammer, you need to be fair. You have Anguillans all over the world who are doing big things, who are doing great things, and they're in other people's countries too. I agree with you with that, but at the same time, Angola is a little small to a country. We can't afford to do a lot of outsourcing.
Well, what harm 100 Anguillans could do to England or America?
We can't do it. We have to be.
We can't hurt those places if 100 of us there.
Yeah.
But we will get hurt because we only got a handful of people.
A small little country, a little
So
small
we'll get
place.
hurt big time.
Yeah.
Big
So
time.
don't do it
And the other thing too, Brother Hammer, we as Anguillans, I've been following Anguillans a long time. Wherever Anguillans are on this planet and they have a job, they don't be there bullying nobody, you know.
No.
They're professionals, they does good work, but they doesn't be there making people lose job because them have a friend on outside who them want to take up this job. Anguillans ain't got that kind of behavior when them go these places. But there are people that come in here from some of these islands around here, they have that kind of bad behavior. They have that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, I know. And again, it's not a hit on anybody. And
No,
again,
you ain't hitting on
please
nobody.
don't feel I'm anti.
Facts is facts.
Don't feel that I'm anti
No, facts is facts.
Caribbean man, anti whatever.
Facts is facts.
I'm pro Anguillan for sure, and I'm someone who understands
Facts
what
is
is
facts.
required to preserve what is Anguillan too. And these things does not inspire that Anguillan vibe, that drive,
No.
that passion, and that at all.
It kill it.
In fact, it kills it in a big
Kill it,
way. It
man.
diminishes it in a big way, and I want you to know that there are persons who are seeing those things, because I'm one of the persons for sure who would have seen that one time, and I don't feel that what you're doing is a waste of time.
Yeah.
To have it now, the 14th, 20th, I don't lost that spirit for
Leave
that
it-
now.
leave it, yeah.
It should be allowed to just go along and just go along, because it's done dead.
Leave it fly.
Yeah, don't let it fly for sure. But my brother, that's where we are in Angola right now, and but I hope that our people understand where we are. We fight every day, because every day, but we need to look at these things. You know.
But Brother Hammer, the chief, you know, there's times when I just tell him he's doing a good job.
Yeah, he mean well too. He mean well.
And there's times when something does just happen that I can't big him up. Now, if he's responsible for that, what's the problem? Personally, how he look at it, I would love for you to call the station and tell us how he look after this matter in a personal manner. Because I need some answers too. I want to understand if he's a cool guy now, he hot later, and next time around he's a compromiser. I would love to know, you know what I mean? Because this thing is involving compromising too. You understand that compromising part has come in. You know that this is something that you met here, because you've been here just a bit. Why you want to put a halt to it when you should be there making sure that it continue?
I was told this one by some officers that it's not him. He passed it to other people in the force.
I heard so, yeah. Well, he need to shake up them fellas, man. Because I could still blame him. I could understand if he shake up the place and he don't get the results that he's looking for, then I could see the picture from a different angle. But you got the power, shake up the place, man. Shake it up.
Yeah.
Turn up the place and shake it out.
Yes.
So he still got that power.
He has some power.
If he say to Harry, tomorrow man, I want you to do X, Y, Z, and tomorrow man come and deal with Harry. You call him and ask him what happened.
Yeah, straight up Harry one
Straight
time.
one
So apparently,
time.
what I heard, this may have happened. He came back angry. He said, "What is happening here?
Wow.
I thought you did so much. You want to make me look bad or what?" I heard conversations along that line from other people. I'm not sure, but I
You
heard that
understand?
those type
Well,
of
I can tell
discussions
you.
were being had somewhere.
If you're gonna do me that, your job is ain't your job no more. You know?
No.
If you're gonna do me that, you going home, man. Trust me, because we're supposed to work together, right? And if I'm the head, and the head says something that is positive, something that we need to do, and because you mightn't like me to somewhat level as a head, you're gonna follow up my program by fire you one time and want the rest.
And boy, it's a serious thing. But
You understand
I
where
heard
I'm coming
from
from?
some officers and other people even who retired that it may not have gone too well with the chief, the top cop. He was angry and he wanted to fight. He was really and truly not. He was pissed off to hear that, you know, when he got his feedback.
But
this was not a good thing.
He wasn't pissed off enough.
Yeah.
Because if you get pissed off to the right level, you're gonna do something about it.
Yes,
Whoever he talk to and give this information to how they should do and when they should do blah, blah, blah. If they refuse that, they don't need a job. I will send he, she, or them people home. Because, like we just said, you're messing with me. I got a job that I have to be serious about. Don't mess with me on my job. When you leave my job and you go home, you do what you want. But when you're on my job and they got something laid out, you either do that or you go home. Because I'm the head here. This is my job right here in this circle.
You can't make me look too bad in front of people.
You cannot shame me down and
you can't embarrass me. So
you can't do me that.
No.
You'll be fired.
Well, the issue, you can't fire anybody right now in public service. Public service have some issues there where you can't fire them. I mean,
and the guys know, right?
Yeah, man. You got a job in the public service, you got a job for life. You can do some terrible things and still be employed or working. You can go take things.
You could get fired and get a job 2 years on the line still.
No, you ain't get fired at all.
No fires at all.
No, you'll be back in the job in no time.
Lay aside for a bit and then when it calm down, you'll be back on the job.
You're back on the job, bro. It's really a permanent job within the public service, you know.
Doesn't matter what happens.
And what I'm seeing too in that service is that when it comes down to conducts and it comes down to how they deal with people, customer service, they don't really care a whole lot.
Because they know there's no penalties.
Now they're going through a public sector reform exercise now with the reform exercise and they're increasing salaries too. But I'm hoping that the culture will change where civil servants who are on the front line, those who are providing service to people, who are the cashier windows, who are taking monies for services you want, or paying licenses, etc. I hope that now that customer service improve because, you know, over the years, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but sometimes you get the impression, even though you're paying, like you're begging.
But that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You go to pay, but you're begging still.
That's true.
They behave that way to you. So I'm hoping that those attitudes improve going forward. They are now spending lots of money on public sector reform in Anguilla. They're trying to reform public service, and they're also reviewing the salary structures too. They're being paid more now because they are civil servants, and they see that they need more a top up, so they're giving a top up right now. So I'm hoping though that with all of these things that are coming, with that will also come, you know, improved attitudes and behaviors towards the people of Anguilla. That is my hope. That's my hope.
Brother Hammer.
That's my hope. That's my hope as well.
Until we take politics and trade somewhere aside, you know, and deal with things in a different level, we can have a problem forever. Politics is a part of all this thing, you know, mashing up everything. Yeah. But I wouldn't care what position I have in Anguilla. If you qualify to do a job, that job is yours. Once you qualify, I've been hearing them around here saying that some people is overqualified. What idiot wouldn't want an overqualified person to work for them?
But you can't pay them either. Based on the salary scales too. If you overqualified, they can't pay you. If you got a,
but Hammer, this is my land.
Yeah.
But Hammer, this is my land. And if I am qualified to do something, I don't need no big old money to help my country and my people.
But you got a scale.
Just make sure that I'm safe. I just want to be safe. I want to be able to live a cool life with me and my family, my friends, the people of Anguilla. I don't want to get more than what I should have if they're going to be a problem to you, Hammer.
No.
You have to be a part of it. You have to get a share. We all have to get a share of what's going on and in a good manner. So don't tell me that I want to be the number one man. I want to be the richest man. Oh, no. Anytime you want to be the richest man when it comes to money, you is buying your way deep on hell. If you want to be rich in God. You understand? We could live with a lot more than what we wanting to live with. We could live with it a lot less than what we out there hungry for.
Yeah, but I'm telling you that there's a salary structure that's in place right now. The one that's reviewing. So it has you on this grade, this scale, that scale. So if you have a certain qualification, you can't fit there because that scale is not there for you. You have to
so then I'd have to go another country.
Another scale. You have to create a scale for yourself.
And if the other country say I overqualified, I never get a job.
It's a strange setup.
But Ahmed is worthlessness.
But they pay money to get us.
You don't do them things to your own people. But
they pay money to consultants to come in to create these structures. Right now, they have them here now. They did some work with PricewaterhouseCoopers, a firm overseas.
Wow.
Big money. Did some work recently here. Now, that work was done, but based on the inputs into that project, there are some people who are not happy. Teachers, for example, are not happy because the scale puts some of them who are qualified here and
Drop
those,
them.
and those who have higher job descriptions are here, while those who don't have job descriptions seem to be a little lower than this is up here, salary wise, the scale
see
is
that?
unbalanced. So they have to fix that problem too. But
But,
they pay big money for those things to happen, you see. But it comes down to the quality of the inputs into these consultancies. I'm seeing that here. So it's not a simple thing. There's a lot going on.
But we need to be better people, man.
But how do you get better? For example,
we need to balance these things in a way that it serve a better purpose. Why half of us is angry? The other half is.
For example, right now, teachers are not happy, and other people are happy. Teachers, I got a lot of frustration.
Good.
I met a guy a while ago, come back in here. I said, yo, we got so strike here. I teach a guy. He got strike soon. I had a laugh. He got strike soon, he said.
You see that?
He's not happy that this is here and this is here. I say, brother, in the MNU system, there's some issues. You never get it right at the first go. We have to go back and fix things, amend. And hopefully they get it amended to your benefit, to your satisfaction at some point. But he's not happy, and I would have gotten that impression from many other persons too, who are within the teaching fraternity, that they ain't too happy with how the system's working out for them here, this new system.
You see?
But again, it can be fixed. It will take time to get it fixed, but it makes people angry. So you have some who are happy, and those who are not happy at all.
When we are putting together these ideas and whatever the case may be,
Yes.
You mean if you really focus, you mean we wouldn't see where this area gonna hurt people, and that area gonna hurt people, and the other area gonna hurt people. Then we could put all the hurting together, bring it together, and see how we could demolish the hurt.
But in them, civil servants have a way of behaving that way too, because the people who are supposed to give the consultant the information, the data, the inputs into this formula to make it work, it depends on what they give. You hire me from Barbados to be a consultant on your salary review exercise, and the data, the inputs. If you give me certain things, certain bits of data that doesn't align with after when I finish my project, it mightn't align. It may be some things off in there that needs fixing. So it comes down to the quality of the data that you get from here. So it's still all people creating these problems. You may have a foreigner doing the reform, But at the end of the day, that foreigner depends on all people here to give him or her information, salary data, to be able to make a better decision. Okay.
Does they get it to
So far on this area, so what I'm seeing, there were some issues that arise right now. Some issues that have some scales here and all over the place, and creating a lot of confusion among some people. But there's some people who are happier and some who are not happy. But the good news is that those things can fix, though. As you go along. But again, you pay a lot of money to the people already for this review, but only to have to return now to going case by case to fix problems. You see.
I think we just make a lot of dumb mistakes.
I think so. A lot of mistakes.
We just make a lot of dumb mistakes in this place. But
But it's government as a whole. Look here. I saw some years ago. I had the person who cried out foul when they did Lansing Bowl here, and when they ignored certain things too, because because I believe in transparency. But when I look at see what's happening now in Angola, even with planning department, procurement down here as well. If you want to do a project right now for government, Wasi, and you need to get it done next month. If you wish to achieve it next month, you would have had to put that in this is February or January just to get that done here. Because the amount of meetings you're going to have and the amount of back and forth you're going to have for them to approve that day, right? If the guys didn't go ahead and push past them people, you would have gotten that done. Okay? It's a system. I'm seeing now with Kyle Hodge. They have a pipe put on for a long time. They hit the problem here. I know. Okay? He's only now getting through now with the paperwork to get some work done on the ground here, to get some digging going on, excavating going on, waiting on some other things too. But it takes a long time to get things working through the system, bro.
Come on, man. Why when we have these positions we just keep ourselves and our own people down? I don't understand that part.
It's a system.
That system needs to be abolished. But any system gonna upset the people. It should not be a system that.
I hear you.
As long as that system gonna upset the people,
it takes a while to get things done.
I ain't taking no while. I bet you if these same people get a pain in inside and run to the doctor quick, how they don't spend 10 years fixing this? Say, okay, I'm go to the doctor next 10 weeks from now while in pain in the side. How come they don't do that?
Yeah.
But when it comes to we the people, all of us who need things done, And sometimes you need these things in a hurry.
You can't get in a hurry, not you.
But sometimes it does be hurry thing that it need.
But listen,
You gonna wait till the patient appendix bust and then you gonna cut
I had
it.
a talk with McNeil Rogers some time ago here. Someone here, Evan McNeil Rogers, Neil Rogers, the health man. He was very frustrated too. Said that but I had this stuff at the hospital coming here now once now can't get it out to it. He can't get it because the system too. He can't get it done at all. He was pull out this here. He was pull out this here. I said, but you have the power. You're supposed to go and amend the law. This is the law we got. You find the law. Fix the law then to make it easier for everybody. You got the power in your hand. You are a policy maker.
So why playing with it?
Go ahead, fix the thing. Change these things up. You have the power in your hand because
but it's a game these people playing with us.
It could be. I know.
It's a game they're playing with us. They're getting paid to play this game with us. You understand? They're getting paid to play this game, and while getting paid, they don't give a whatever the world should be about us.
You feel so, was it?
Of course, so they getting paid.
But cussing too, right? You be pretending to cuss it.
They could pretend to cuss if they want to make us think that them got a problem too. But them is the ones that sharing the problems among us. No, the brother you just spoke up, no. But we have people in Anguilla. For years and years, some of us come down the radio stations and talking, some of us on the streets talking, some of us having meetings and talking about things. Now, do you know that a lot of talk that we've been hearing around now and talking about this should be done that way and that should be done that way. And some of these people was around 15, 20, 25 years when they had a chance to make the real way work. They mean do it now, but I'm coming back now after the whole place done collapse and talking about them, we should do this and we should do that, we should do the next. When the whole Anguilla done mashed up already. Check the dump site out there. Dead.
By trouble out there.
Dead.
Out there's trouble, yeah.
Trouble? Trouble?
Carry to a lot of problems.
Trouble in the world. But I was working out there, because until something, but wherever I go to work, I try to make a difference in the positive. When I was working out there, I was doing what was supposed to be done in order for the place to develop, with a slower filling then. Slower filling. But when I was working out there, one morning around 10 o'clock, a couple guys came there, working with the same department, and said to me, Rasta, you must do it so good. Now, how you mean I must do my job so good? But I was doing on there, I was filling the hole from on top.
Did you cut a trench? You full it.
I was filling the hole from on the top.
Wow.
And that's the best way I know definitely that hole should be.
So you went above the excavator and just full from on top.
You see when you're going inside, you see when you're going down, right?
Yeah, yes.
And you get down inside, there's a cliff on your left hand side going down.
Yeah,
I was putting the road on top of there,
Oh yeah? Wow.
Yeah. If they had allowed me there for some time, I was going to put a road on top of there, and when the trucks come with them stuff, they dump it over, and I was going to full from the top. So that big old space, rather than spending millions of dollars going down in the hole, blocking up the place with a couple truckloads of stuff, then you got a machine going to push it up in the air. You see, push it up in the air. Wasting time, wasting money, wasting space. If you're full from on the top, and you level from the top, you know how much of that hole you'll have there for all kind of years, still ready for stuff. And the next thing, all that amount of concrete and thing that we've been carrying out there for these years, all that helping to fill the place up.
Yeah, that makes you feel from there.
Good. But that was my idea. I was going to call on them to get a small crusher that you could get 3 different grades. Let's say you got one bringing out inch and a quarter, you got one bringing inch, you got one bringing half inch.
Yes,
this is filled.
It's filled.
You're filling the dump site with stuff that could go other places and do good work and have more space in the dump site.
Yeah.
You're carrying bush in the dump site. Why they don't get it?
Mulch.
You understand where I'm coming from?
A mulcher and chip everything up.
You're filling it up full speed and then complaining that to go run out of space. But you got to run out of space.
I watched that.
Because I'm filling it up in a dumb manner.
Yeah, even the old tires where they got their tires.
But I spoke about those tires years ago. Those tires, the ones with wire, you pick them out. The ones with threads, you shred them thing and help build your roads. You mix it with the asphalt. You could even mix it with concrete to stretch your roads.
Yeah.
You understand? They got over 100,000. Over 100,000
what tires?
Tires.
Why more than now, dear? A lot more.
Over?
A lot more than that.
So what we would have been doing, we would have been taking those tires right? And shredding them, shredding all them tires. The ones that, because the wire one ain't gonna be good to shred. Those fellas know we got 2 deeps down here.
Throw them off in the water?
2 deeps. Hundreds of feet down Brother Hammett with a cliff on each side. That not even no kind of hurricane can bring them back up from down there and bring them on the shallow.
I know that.
You understand? You're loading them up in the badge and you just carry them there, throw them in the deep. They ain't gonna affect nothing. They ain't gonna affect the fish or nothing.
You have to drain oil and different things.
No, I'm talking about the tires.
Tires.
All those tires. You understand? The ones that we could shred, with the treads, right? We keep them because we can use them to build roads and stuff. The rest go in the deep, so we wouldn't have tires up there pile up. And I'll tell you something, you know. They got tires up there, got water that have been in water for months. They're the ones that weigh down, and the water leak the way down, and get the got water to some of them for months.
Yeah.
And they be talking about mosquitoes.
Mosquito breeding grounds for sure.
We talking about mosquitoes. You go down there, if rain fall, you can't go down in there because there's too much of mud. You can't go down there carry no garbage.
A lot of stuff.
The whole place was supposed to be full and from up on the top.
Okay.
You know what to do with the old cars over there?
Pack them up on your show?
Pushing the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Turn the car around and jam the back of it to the tracks on the machine and fold them up like a ball and just roll them down the hill.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I was doing that.
All right.
Because you ain't shipping out nothing, so you might as well.
Yeah. What's to continue for a few days? I have to cut off at 11:45 for you, but go ahead now.
Yeah, because I was about to speak a little about the boat race.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and you know.
Yeah, continue.
Well, last Sunday race, right? Because I'm looking at every race. If I don't see a race, I ain't happy. Last Sunday, that's how I've been speaking about time and time again about the different tactics and thing about racing boats and stuff. And some people criticize, some people understand to whatever amount they understand. Now Sunday gone, I look at the race. I look at the Keja Pride and the Step. They were the 2 leading boats. The Keja Pride in the north, way north, while the Step coming to the south, coming towards the cliff. I look at the Step because she coming not far from me. The Step coming. The Keja Pride is way in the north, and waiting these guys in the north doing sticking. Now you so high up, and you still sticking your boat. The Step come inside, stand up, and take a lot of ground off of this boat because this boat was ahead the Step by a good distance. Now imagine that the Step come back to you, you cross the Step by 100 feet, 150 feet, whatever the case may be, and you still going south. The Step went over towards the hill, stand up, and went straight to the stake. You're going to tell me that if you're a real captain, that when you cross the Step going in there towards the harbor, right, that you're going to tell me that if you was smart that you wasn't going to tack and go back north, so you could gain your height and you could gain your reach on the Step. So when you go back north with her, in fact, from the time you cross the Step and the Step get in your wake, you should have gone back north. But no, you keep going south. So when you tack to go between the buoys now, there come the Step, almost put you hardly going between the buoys. You beat them by just some seconds, when you could have beat them by 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe. And you're going to tell me that you guys really know about sailing? Me now, that position out in the north, I was going to bunt my jib about 8 inches. Bunt my sail about 8 inches. Pull off a little, make speed, cross the Step oddly than when the crosser oddly, and even beat her further. But the Step almost bring you hardly inside this, right between the 2 bays almost. And you can tell me that these fellas out there talking about them as captains and them got these amount of tactics to race boats and things, but I know Keja Pride was supposed to be the Step much further than that. The Step almost catch up between the boys, almost. The them went almost together. Don't tell me that you know about really sailing a boat when what you were supposed to be doing in that position, not sticking your boat. Don't try to keep your boat. It's better to pull off a little, put your head a little under the stake so you can make speed to get in there, right? Then sticking, because when you stick, you're losing space you're losing time. When you're losing space and time, you can lose the race. Because space and time for the other guy, right, that you sharing, you're putting him in a better position. The Step almost win the race, almost, just by 7 seconds.
Yeah.
And this boat could have beaten the Step by a hell of a distance.
Yes.
But you see, these guys, I don't know.
Well, you know, boat racing is a thing that, you know, I mean, we all have ideas. I mean, and again, the guys in Long Bay West End, you know, when you speak about racing, the guys,
Better Hammer?
you know, they love to hear you speak about it, you know, but there are a few guys in West End, Long Bay, when you speak in this way of racing, they become excited because they have a lot to say. Yeah, a lot to say. But as one told me the other night, Washington never raced a boat in his life. Washington hasn't raced a boat. He raced for years, and Washington is talking about boats as if he know more than him, you know.
Yeah, well, then how come if he knows so much that he out there exploring?
Yeah.
Why he don't go there and explore? And why he don't call a class then?
Yeah.
And tell him what he know? And just why I just speak about just now, this first time you ever hear it. But he knows still.
You know.
They just know after I say what I say. Then them know.
Yes.
But how come I watching out there all the time losing races, right? And I saying what I know I should be saying about I losing races, and then I saying I don't be out in boats. But let me tell you something, but I'm long before a lot of these fellas who's in boats right now, who's in boats, I already built my own and sail it.
Yeah.
So when I retire from sailing boats, a lot of them wasn't born yet.
I hear. You know, watch that. But watch that.
Understand? When I retire, a lot of them they wasn't born
I
yet.
love it. I love it.
Because I know definitely the Kijwa Pride was supposed to be the step further than that. Them almost squeezed together between the stick. Almost.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know what? I said I'm going to ask the guys about to get you done by the state in school to share some knowledge. I think that you know, just to hear you speak, because I mean, as we said last week, you know, you can go to school and learn these things, but there's certain techniques you have to learn your own.
But
you
I see-
might have a few tricks that the guys may not understand.
I see what those guys do. Them almost throw away the race.
Yeah.
Because they were further than that in front of the step.
Yeah.
The step almost squeeze them between the stick.
Yeah.
Almost. By.
Oh, I got you.
So these guys who talking about, I know nothing about race and thing,
That's right, man.
they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
They ain't
But I'll
know
say
me.
this, though, Western people love you, long for sure, and I think that the guys in Western feel when you speak, they feel represented. Some might have a little thing, but for the most part, they feel represented.
That's
The
good.
very same Rasta and Angola feel as if when you appear on the program that you represented, Rasta across Angola and across the diaspora who are Angolan people, when you appear here on these programs, they feel as if they're a representative.
That's good.
So I believe that the same thing is the West End Long Bay as well. But some of the guys might have a little I don't know how to go here.
You know, those guys can learn a lot more than if they cut off from being foolish, you know.
I hear,
They
bro.
can learn a lot more.
Well, I said,
But
love,
bye-bye.
love alone,
I
bro.
gotta go, but
Make our first day. What is it again?
you know,
What is a globe?
this is the south half of the earth.
Yeah, okay.
This whole circle is the
You got to show her to the people, man.
This is-
Hold up, so?
yeah,
Hold up, so?
yeah,
Okay.
because this is the bottom. This is where creation started right here, right? The first sunrise was in Africa, right? So here's where your sun take off. 90 degrees after taking off, 90 degrees, the sun cover quarter of the earth. So this is 90 degrees here.
Right, yeah.
From here, it takes the sun 6 hours to get here. And from there now, that is 6 o'clock. That's our sunrise here in Angola.
Okay, right here.
This is our, when the sun here, that's when the sun rises in Angola. Because Angola is back here.
Back here.
You understand where I'm coming from? So when the sun get here, right, it is all part of Africa. But you know, Africa big, so this is the only little piece of South Africa because the rest of it ain't on this.
Okay.
Right? But the first 6 hours, put the sun 90 degrees. Follow me.
Yeah.
The second 6 hours, put the sun 180 degrees, the eye. The other 6 hours, put it 270. And your last 6 hours, bring it back to your beginning
Pull
point.
back, so. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, show me again. Show that one more time. That piece there.
Yeah, I was saying from here is the beginning. This is where the sun take off from, and the sun traveled. It was going up east because there's down under. So the sun take off traveling up east. To travel up east for 6 hours to cover 6,000 miles, and after traveling for that 6 hours up east, then she started traveling for 6 hours down west, where she come to 12 o'clock. That's us. So that's half of your day. That's 12 hours for your day. And then from there now, she going down under because when she leave us here, right, 6 hours later, she's setting for us.
Yes.
That's our sunset, 6 hours later, right? And then another 6 hours to make the 24 hours of the day, she back to where she start from. So those people who are about saying that a year have 365 days, they're reading from something that being fooling them. And I understand recently some talk come out from Ethiopia that a year is 365 days. Anywhere in Ethiopia going to tell me that a year is 365 days, they get fooled too.
You get fooled, right?
And if anywhere on this planet going to tell me that a year is 13 months, they get fooled too, because God didn't do things odd numbers. Everything was done in pairs.
In pairs, yeah.
So how a year going to have 13 months? But according to creation, this year, the year is exactly 360 days. Full, and every year carries 48 Sabbaths. It's 48 weeks in a year, 48 Sabbaths in a year. And what else again? We have, with the moon, we have 12 full moons in a year.
Yes.
12 new moons in a year, which starts every month. And 12 dark moons in a year. The Sabbaths, according to the moon, they them fellas talking and want to criticize them reading from books. But this ain't no reading from no book. This is the real thing.
Created by you.
You understand where I'm coming from? This is the real thing. This is according to God Almighty. You understand? This is according to that. So these fellas who are about want to criticize and say, oh, a year is 365 days, buy them fool you a long time. Because there's no such thing as 365 days in a year. A year is 360 days, 360 degrees, 1 degree to a day. You understand? If you're going to tell me you travel for 365 degrees, when you reach 360, that is when you make your complete circle. That other 5 days, which is 5 degrees, you already off. So there's nothing called 365 days. There's nothing called 31 days in a month. There's no 28 days in a month. Every month, the moon is 30 days. Every week is 7.5 days. So the 4 weeks, when you put the 4 halves together, you get your 30 days. The first half of the moon is your first Sabbath in a month. Full moon is your second Sabbath. When the moon is half going back, that's your third Sabbath. And the dark moon is your fourth Sabbath for the month, because the very next day is your new moon, starting your new month.
All right.
So who want to criticize? Tell them, come and debate me with this. And don't come back and read this and you read that and you read this in the Bible. A lot of things you're going to hear me saying, you can't find it in the Bible.
So how you learn these things? I mean, where you learn this from? This thing, I mean, again, because I mean, I asked you before, but again, it's worth repeating, because what you're saying, I'm sure there are persons who would have seen just now, heard that just now, there, ask the same question again. Where you learn these things?
But you have to learn to love Mother Nature. You have to learn to respect Mother Nature. You have to learn to respect God and His creation. And tell us something, brother. The most of this what I'm speaking about here, you know where all this inspiration come from? In the wilderness. I go in the wilderness and I sit down under a cool tree and invite the Spirit of the Almighty. And sometimes I got a little piece of paper and a little pencil scribbling out things on. And but sometimes when I got a problem, it's like, you know, like one day I was doing something, I was working out something with the globe. And I wanted to find out something that I couldn't get to it. And you know, like the Spirit of God said, boy, you is so determined that I must help you. You understand? You so determined to want to do something good, I must help you. You know what you put in my mind right away? Go and get a measuring tape. And I went and get a measuring tape, and I pick up the scale on the globe, and I could take that tape, and I could measure from land to land, anywhere on the planet, and tell you how much miles it is. When another man got to go on his phone and clicking and thing and going on to find out, I could just watch my globe and tell you, bap. Right now, brother, if I had my globe with me right now, I could watch my globe, check the time, and tell you exactly where the eye of the sun is. And more too. So this ain't no school thing for me. This ain't no university. This ain't no teacher, no preacher, nobody could tell me, well, this is why I sit down and teach the rest of man. All this is come straight from the Almighty and from Mother Nature. That's where I sandwich myself. So I know a lot about Mother Nature, and I know a lot about God and creation. And a lot of people don't know that because they see me in school.
You know, well, I should have a good one. Thank you, man. Ras, my brother, as always, spirited, always grow, and you never cease to amaze us really with your teachings and your comments, and that's why people love you so, because you're unpredictable, thought-provoking every single time. I love that. Peace and love, bro.
Respect, brother Hammer. Yes, man.
Peace and love. All right, guys. Yeah, man. Thank you, man.
One of these times we're gonna just take the day for ourselves.
One day, a whole day for
Yeah,
real.
man.
Because actually, you have to go for a whole week, maybe more. A lot more, a whole week for sure. Yes, I. Peace and love, guys. Sharon,
Respect, brother.
watch the other, but take care. Peace, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so guys, folks, we're here, class of in the morning time. We are 5 now before 12, and we're about now to get into another segment of our programming in a bit here. And up next will be the Minister of Infrastructure. He will join us next in the person of Jose Van der Poel. Honorable Jose Van der Poel will join us next year on the program. And we're going to have a wide-ranging conversation. We were planned for last week, but didn't happen last week. But we're in now for this week. He's here now for sure. And we have a number of important topics to flesh out, to delve into today on our program. So he's with me right now, and wasting no time, I'm going to get into our chit-chat now. Let me welcome the Honorable Minister of MICUNT and the Infrastructure, Utilities, Housing, the Works, man. Jose Van der Poel, sir. Good afternoon to you, Honorable, and welcome to our program for today, Thursday.
Good morning, Hammer, and good morning to the people of Anguilla. It's always a pleasure to be here with you at Class FM.
All right, brother. Quite a bit to unpack today. I know that your ministry is a very heavy one, and it has to do with infrastructure, it has to do with utilities. It spans so many areas really that I want to get going quickly in this regard. But before we get too far in, I want to touch an issue that I would have touched on last Monday evening when I spoke to Minister of Social Services, Shelia Rogers-Webster, and because the issue of the vehicles, I would have seen you're driving one. I would have seen a flyer going around sometime last week with the cost of new vehicles for ministers of government, and created a stir recently, and I listened to the chatter back and forth on that as well. You are in a great position to explain to me, because Shelia told me point blank, there is a government refuting continuous strategy exercise that's underway in Anguilla all the time. It's been for before you guys came to power. It's been in place for a very long time. But you get the impression that that when the vehicles went on the street the last day here, in fact they were at the corner getting washed up when I saw the video going around. Really, is there a government refuting program that is taking place, that is ongoing? And did you meet that when you came to office?
Yes, Hammer. In fact, that there is. And I would have heard the note that was put out yesterday by the previous Minister of Infrastructure, when he would have said that the claims by my honorable colleague were at best misleading. I found it interesting that he said at best misleading, because he is famous to want to actually call you out to say if what you're saying isn't true, he would blatantly say it isn't true. So it made me wonder why he said misleading. And he would have alluded to the fact that there was $2 million placed in the 2025 budget by the administration for the replacement of government vehicles. He was correct that $2 million is applied across a variety of categories, across needs, across all of government. But I wanted to come equipped with the facts for the people of Anguilla today. So I would have walked with some documentation. Before me is a document that was submitted to Executive Council for consideration to consider the proposal for the replacement of the Government of Anguilla vehicles. Now, to put this all into some context, Hammer, we would have received our ministerial appointments on the 4th of March, 2025. And this paper was submitted to council. I met it already prepared. It was submitted for council's consideration on the 23rd of March 2025, so 3 weeks after us coming to office. And it was submitted as a result of speaking with the technocrats at the ministry and understanding the needs and their advice. And I know the former Minister of Infrastructure is always on record saying that the same technocrats he leave there as the same ones that I dealing with now. So ultimately, the advice should be the same, and he should know full well about this. And just to speak a bit to the background, at the time, again, this is March 2025, currently requests for over 50 vehicles from 20 Government of Anguilla ministries and departments to meet transportation needs are on file for 2025 for consideration. And there's a list of them in Appendix 1. I gave you a copy. If you go to the back, you'll see the list of the different requests from the different ministries, but I'll get to that. The 2025 budget for Government of Anguilla vehicle replacement is EC $2 million, from which vehicle purchases estimated at 680,000 were approved. So in March, when we got there, 680,000 of the $2 million was already spent in vehicles by the previous administration, leaving us with a funding envelope for the remaining vehicle replacement of $1.3 million. Point 3. The Department of Infrastructure, MICU, as part of Government of Anguilla's replacement strategy, so clearly a strategy exists, recommends that ministerial, EXCO, and protocol vehicles be changed after a 5-year period, at which time the decision for retention and reallocation within the Government of Anguilla fleet will be made based on efficiency criteria. The vehicles in these categories are 5 years or more and not in optimal condition for the intended purpose. So I'll stop here for a bit, Hammer. This shows that, one, there is a replacement strategy. And based on the strategy, it is recommended that every 5 years, vehicles at the ministerial, EXCO, or protocol for those purposes be changed after 5 years. That frees up the vehicles that were being used during that period to be reallocated to the fleet, and for the older vehicles to then be sold on auction. Now, you will note that if you go back to the Appendix 1 that speaks to the vehicle needs, though I find it interesting that the former Minister of Infrastructure would speak to the need for replacing vehicles because his ministerial vehicle was the only one listed as in critical condition. So not only was it not in optimal condition for the intended purpose, it was in critical condition and needed immediate replacement for action. As soon as they took it out of the fleet after we came there, and then they had to take it to the shop for repairs. 4. In the interim, the 6 vehicles available in this category have been reassigned to ministers, ministerial advisor, and ministerial assistant. 2 users from this category do not have vehicles assigned, and there are no Government of Anguilla fleet vehicles available for this purpose, and therefore the need to acquire 2 vehicles immediately for this purpose. And then a sole source request was prepared for 2 vehicles pending approval. And at the end, the Department of Infrastructure, MICU, responsible for the acquisition of vehicles to address Government of Anguilla priority needs based on the 2025 budgetary allocation, further proposes that a clear direction be agreed on Government of Anguilla vehicle replacement. And there are 2 options, so let me go through that. The proposed direction as recommended by the Ministry, to have Executive Council consider and direct on the following. 1. Approve the recommendation for Government of Anguilla Ministerial Vehicle Replacement 2025 between option 1, replace all 11 Government of Anguilla ministerial vehicles, and option 2, to replace only 3 Government of Anguilla ministerial vehicles in 2025 and program the replacement of the remaining vehicles in the following years. Now, Hammer, this option 1, to replace all Government of Anguilla ministerial vehicles, was the option that was presented by the ministry, presented by the technocrats to us as the government in March. The reason being, there are certain pros and cons that they have identified further in this paper, but they felt it best, given the condition of all of the vehicles at that time, that they bring in a new set that are fresher, that meets the requirement based on the vehicle replacement program, and then the vehicles that we were utilizing at the time, based on the ones that we got from the previous administration, could then be reallocated to the fleet. Which means, so take for example, one of the vehicles that they wanted to reallocate from us would have gone to FIU, and that would have gone to replace a vehicle that was 21 years old, a 2004 model. So, in terms of the decisions that were made, option 1, replace 11 vehicles. Option 2, replace 3 vehicles.
Option 2 you took, right?
In March, what we would have decided to do is replace 3 ministerial vehicles. 1, we understood that there was a number of pressing needs across the Government of Anguilla's fleet, and so we wanted to see what other needs may have been able to be critically addressed. And 2, we could imagine if replacing the vehicles now at this stage, had we done this within weeks of coming into office, despite that being the department's recommendation, imagine the backlash we would have gotten then based on all of the hype that's being created now. So what we did is we replaced 3 of the government vehicles, and 1 was for the Premier. Then there were 2 ministerial vehicles that were placed on order. And for persons wondering, why do the why would they need new vehicles in the first place? Again, this was not our request. It was something that was put forth by the department as part of their vehicle replacement program. However, Hammer, when we are talking about the condition of the vehicles that the ministers were assigned in the interim, we had a minister that's vehicle was breaking down on the road unexpectedly multiple times. So imagine the safety, particularly of a female minister, going to start her vehicle and it's not starting, being isolated at late nights.
That's rough stuff.
So, and as a result of that, what do you have to do? You have to call out staff members from the vehicle unit to go and pick up the minister. We already don't have other vehicles within the fleet, so now that you then have to rent a vehicle for months on end. And those rental costs add up, Hammer. Whether it's for the replacement of a government vehicle for a minister or for allocation of a new vehicle to a department, I was very alarmed by the rate at which we were spending money in rentals. We could have bought several new vehicles in that process.
We spent millions in rentals over the years. I heard that being leveled against the government over the years.
Indeed. So when we approached the end of the year and there was some savings within the budget, the department would have come to us again within the ministry and said, look, we have a bit of flexibility in savings. We would like to use some of those savings in order to buy certain vehicles. So some were applied to ministerial vehicles, some was to get vehicles for other purposes within the department. And now that the vehicles have been handed over, they've already been reallocated to other aspects within the fleet. So, as shown, Hammer, if you go to Appendix 1, when it looks for the request for government of Anguilla vehicles and the Department of Infrastructure's consideration, it's a very, very, very long list.
A long list, yes.
And each of these are detailed based on priority, ranging from critical to whether you can monitor it, to whether it's high priority, whether you can manage the situation, whether it's very low priority. But all of the requests were listed based on matter of priority. And as it pertains to the EXCO vehicles, Premier, priority high, immediate action required. Governor,
right here.
Consider. So in other words, you can consider replacing the governor's vehicle because she had one that was a bit of a newer model. Maiku, critical condition, immediate action required. Ministry of Home Affairs, high. Ministry of Social Development and Education, high. Ministry of Sustainability, Innovation, Environment, high. Senior Ministerial Advisor, high. So it goes to show that based on their own criteria and the plan, this information the minister would have had, he would have been privy to prior to leaving office. Because this wasn't prepared when I first came. I met it there.
Oh, you met it there.
Exactly. So I find the hype around all the government ministerial vehicles and the replacement to be quite disingenuous, because it would have been the plan of the previous administration based on the priorities to move forward and replace the ministerial vehicles.
Again, what you're saying is that what I'm learning from you now, and I heard from the Minister of Social Services the other night here, there is an ongoing public sector vehicle fleet program that's running all the time, continuous.
Yes.
So where they assess vehicles, maintain them, and based on what the assessment shows, they can take them out. They can reallocate to other areas, and they can bring new ones in. So it's an ongoing program. Ongoing.
So when we chose option 2 to get the 3 vehicles in the interim, one of them would have been allocated to the minister, the senior ministerial assistant, because at the time he was renting a vehicle, seeing that the fleet didn't have one. So we wanted to allocate him one as a matter of priority to take away any rental costs incurred by the government of Anguilla. And the other would have been allocated to the Minister of Social Development and Education, because again, her vehicle at the time was stopping. So even the vehicle that I was driving was reallocated to the fleet, and I was driving one of the EVs before this, because I felt it would make more sense for me to drive the EV, seeing that there's a charging station at Maiku. I have controls to be able to access this charging station. So let someone else have one of those vehicles full time while I use this. And so that's where we are with that at the moment. The thought behind option 2 after buying those initial 3 was every year we would continue to replace 2 at a time. So 2 more ministerial vehicles in 2026, 2 more in 27, 2028 until it's all done. The department wasn't necessarily in favor of that because now you have different ministerial vehicles of different years. It had implications for servicing. Then it would be harder to track for replacement, as opposed to if you replace them every 5 years at a standard period, then you can reallocate to the fleet, you can plan that ahead of time, and you have time to source new vehicles for that entire category. Now, they were understanding of the political concerns, but that's why they would have asked for clarity and direction going forward, because they would
Who
just
asked for clarity? Who asked for clarity?
The Department of Infrastructure. As it said here, the Department of Infrastructure responsible for acquisition of the government of Anguilla to address government priority needs based on the 2025 budgetary allocation, further proposes that a clear direction be agreed on the government of Anguilla vehicle replacement. And Hammer, that's to avoid the politics around the changing of vehicles. If you know that elections are due every 5 years, regardless of whether someone new comes in office or you continue in office, they would like to know that you replace it every 5 years. That's when the warranty comes to an end, so that they know how to manage the fleet regardless of the political influence. And that takes the politics out of it, so that even if an administration changes and there's a clear direction that we change it every 5 years, you know the opposition would be disingenuous coming to the station and saying, oh, they gone and buy vehicles again. It's part of the existing vehicle replacement plan that the minister left there.
So the minister would have seen these things before he left office?
The minister is fully aware.
Fully aware. All right. So under this program, are there other vehicles to come? Right now you're saying there's some more to come still? There's some other vehicles in 2026?
Okay, so in terms of what was budgeted for the 2026 allocation, one of the reasons that the decision was made based on the savings at the end of 2025 to purchase all of the ministerial vehicles as well as some of the other ones were to address some of the concerns, but also to give us the fiscal space in this year to be able to meet more of the needs, because some money would have been budgeted for 2026 for ministerial vehicles, but because we were able to buy them from the 2025 budget, that frees up those funds to be able to be spent in 2026. Some of the needs in 2026, for example, include school buses, includes a vehicle for the sports department. There was a request for a box truck for the post office, and the initial allocation, based on what we were given, would not have been enough to buy all of the school buses that were needed for the upcoming school year. But having spent those savings and being able to redivert those funds, I'm happy to say that we were able to send a team off a few weeks ago with some representatives from MICU, from the procurement unit, and from education on a fact-finding mission to go and evaluate different school bus sellers around the U.S. And as a result of that, we have recently engaged with one of the sellers to buy 6 new school buses out of the 2026 allocation. And we're currently underway trying to see if we can get them on island before the September semester start.
Okay.
It's going to be a tight time frame and turnaround, but the good thing is these school buses usually take 12 months to 18 months to be able to build a new fit-for-purpose bus. On one of the fact-finding mission stops, they were able to find the supplier who had an order that was in before, but they didn't end up going with all of the buses. So these 6 buses remained. And because of the savings on buying the ministerial vehicles last year, we're able to use the funding envelope for 2026 to acquire those 6 to meet the needs that the education department has. Because I'm not sure if you're aware, not only are the school buses that are there in poor condition because they're older, but we're now spending money also renting services for persons to be able to move our students around. So by being able to make these purchases in a timely manner, we'll be saving government overall in terms of rental costs.
And in terms of the cost of these 6 new buses, I estimate the cost of the new buses. You have an idea as to what's going to cost us?
I'm not sure the final figure based on the supplier that they went with, but the ballpark figure was around between 250 to about 280,000 per bus.
Per bus. And these are brand new buses?
Brand new buses.
Brand new buses. And they should be here before the new school year. September.
That's what we're pushing for.
That's what we're pushing for. All right, so the vehicles, folks, you're hearing it here from the Minister of Infrastructure. So he's saying that that he met this document in his office when he got there, and following elections, he's saying that based on what he's seeing, this would have been seen by the previous minister before he left office, and so this is nothing new. And he also mentioned that there is an ongoing government of Anguilla replacement strategy really that is underway there. So there's a program that they're running where they are looking at the vehicles that are in there, and they are fleeting up all the time. and it's the plans to get to what, 50 vehicles instead of the next 50 vehicles.
No, there were requests at the time, 50 requests from 20 different government departments.
Okay, at the time. Okay, so we are filling that right now. So it means therefore now that every 5 years the plans are to change up vehicles. Some vehicles are the ministerial vehicles you're saying now, and that's the plan. Every 5 years to be able to change those vehicles. That's the plan.
Well, that's a part of the department's refleeting strategy. So after 5 years, those vehicles would be repurposed within the government of Anguilla fleet, allowing an assessment to be done, and the older vehicles that are now no longer fit for purpose, are not giving value for money, can then be auctioned and removed from the fleet.
All right, so it's an ongoing program. All right, so this program is designed to continue regardless of, it doesn't matter who's in power, it will continue. This is the plan, right? For government to keep the program running, right?
Unless another administration comes in and decides otherwise. Because as I said, given we knew that the politics would have been played, so we chose to go a different option where we evaluated the needs and how we could best repurpose that 1.3 million that was left, seeing that 680,000 was already spent by the time we got there.
All right. So I suspect Michael would have made a presentation before the ministers to the government cabinet as well on this whole thing. I mean, because they're the ones who run the program, they would have made a presentation, I'm sure, right?
Yes, the department would have presented to both myself and the parliamentary secretary, Mr. Cardell Richardson Foss. They then would have also come to cabinet and shared their views, and then these were the two options that were formally presented based on our feedback to Executive Council for consideration, where we chose at the time to pursue only 3 new vehicles pending further decision, as opposed to replacing all 11 in March of 2025.
All right. So I hope that this brings clarity to the time decision, because again, you said that you heard a voice note from the former minister.
I believe he said he needed to make an address yesterday to set some things straight on the record, but even though he went to set it straight, there are still a few things that were crooked that I now come to properly straighten out.
All right. Now, let's move forward. As I said before, your ministry is far and wide, very comprehensive. It spreads very far. The area of road development, now where are we with the road development projects? I spoke to the minister, Shelley Rogers as well, Webster, who mentioned that you're working on that. You're working hard in that area too. You're working on that area as well. And where are we with the road development program? Where are we?
So I'll push forward on that, addressing once again the claims that were made by the previous Minister of Infrastructure. He said that our administration chose to pause the St. Mary's Road, that we chose to pause the North Hill Road project, that we chose to pause the Phillips Drive Road project. And I want to make something clear, Hammer. When coming into office, the only road project that was actively underway was the road from South Hill to Jeremiah. And even though work had commenced on that road, Hammer, the necessary lands that were required for the development of that road had not yet been acquired. So the APM would have mentioned that they had 5 priority roads identified for 2025. The reality is the cost of developing those 5 priority roads identified, and the cost would only have estimates for the land acquisition until you go into negotiations to get a final. The total cost would have been $10.5 million, and that's what the ministry would have requested in the last budgetary cycle. The reality is, of the request for $10.5 million, only $7 million was allocated for road development in 2025. Now, the North Hill Road alone is about $3.6 million. That was the estimated budget. So that means, just based on how much you got in the budget versus how much you asked for, you can't do all the roads that you were looking to do. Beyond that, we went to have the land acquisitions. The memo was submitted for the acquisition of lands for the road development for the South Hill Road for approval on July 10th, 2025. Remember, we got into office in March of 2025. We submitted the memo for the acquisition of lands so that we could formally acquire the lands. Because while persons would say, oh, you could acquire it after the fact, that road in particular required a number of pole relocations across the entire stretch in order to widen the road. Anglec would not relocate the poles unless the Crown actually had the authority to do so. Else we would be asking Anglec to take the poles from on government land and to plant them in somebody's private yard. And so, really and truly, until you acquired the lands, Anglec could not relocate the poles, and until you could relocate those poles, you couldn't really complete works. So that's an unnecessary delay. Had that work had gone into the land acquisition in, say, 2024, knowing that you want to do this in 2025, and you had gotten those funds, Angler could have been able to move faster. There were also a few delays on the part of the contractor, but even beyond that, this was a delay that had to come because you had to get the land first. So, beyond that, the Sandy Hill Road was able to be done out of that funding envelope because, one, it only had 3 landowners that were identified for the development of that road, and of the monies that were left over from the South Hill to Jeremiah allocation, the cost of the Sandy Hill Road still fit within that envelope. It could be budgeted within the 7 million that was actually allocated. The EXCO memo for the acquisition of the lands for Sandy Hill Road was submitted to Executive Council for approval in October of last year, Hammer. So in other words, we had to make sure that the designs were in place. Now, all of the roads identified were surveyed. The Sandy Hill Road had the designs completed at this point in time, but we still had to go and acquire the lands in October of last year for that road that just finished. So while the former minister gives the impression that these roads were ripe and rearing and ready to go, there was still a lot of work that was not done. Take, for example, the North Hill Road. I already spoke to the challenges that we had with the budget, seeing that the ambitions that were expressed did not meet the envelope that was actually given from finance. But while that road was surveyed, it was not designed. There were some preliminary designs, but after preliminary designs, you still need to meet with the utility companies. You still need to speak with the landowners and go through negotiations. And based on the negotiations with the landowners and the feedback from the utilities, that's how you come up with your final designs. We didn't meet designs here ready to go, Hammer.
No, okay.
So, again, the North Hill Road, that was one of the roads that will be addressed as priority for 2027. And in terms of what we've been doing so far with our roads program, persons would have heard that Beston Consulting would have won the bid for the roads rehabilitation program. So the roads rehabilitation program is completely separate to the development of these new roads that we're looking to do. And as a result, they are analyzing our entire road network. All 164 kilometers of paved roads throughout Anguilla, assessing which ones are in worse condition, which ones need full reconstruction, which ones just need some development. And we're creating a 10-year plan, a master plan as it pertains to road development, to make sure that all of the roads of Anguilla are brought up to a good condition, because right now, about 80% of the paved roads are now in poor condition. And so we want to get it back up to that standard where 80% or higher are in good to excellent condition. So this roadmap will plan, okay, this is what we're going to do over the next 10 years. This is our 5-year plan, and this is our 3-year interim plan, and work towards doing that and getting there. So another fact that I want to highlight, Hammer, is just for the benefit of the listening public. Because I've heard persons asking, why are we bringing in different consultants, etc. The capital expenditure budget, which most of it lies with MICU, in 2002 was $7 million. So in 2002, capital expenditure was expected to be $7 million. Now, remember, in 2025 budget, the roads line item alone in capital was $7 million. In 2023, the capital expenditure budget was $30 million. So between 2022 and 2023, it went up by 4.5 times. By 2024, the capital expenditure budget was $93 million. 2025, the capital expenditure budget was $191 million. And in 2026, the capital expenditure budget is $233 million. So from $7 million of capital in 2022 to $233 million of capital in 2026. And what I want to say is, it's great. That's a 33 times multiplier. It's great that Anguilla is now in a position where we can have these, how should I say, ambitious capital programs, because the people of Anguilla deserve better infrastructure. They deserve better roads, new hospitals, the airport to be expanded. But the thing that has to be taken into consideration is, has the department's capacity and the Ministry of Infrastructure's capacity grown by 30 times over the past 5 years? The reality is, the same people who in 2026 we are asking to deliver all of these capital projects are the same people who had to deliver just $7 million in 2022. So as a result, in order to assist them, in order to increase capacity and give them the support and resources they need to be able to deliver on these capital projects, that's why we're bringing in external support. Before I get to the external support, I want to talk about some things that we're doing within the ministry, Hammer, to talk about changing the structure of the ministry to better make it more effective. So upon taking up the duties as minister in March of 2023, I had an acting PAS in the person of Mr. Travis Carty. And when he was acting, his substantive position was Director of Public Utilities. So there was an acting PS. The director's post, he's now doing both jobs because there's no person to replace him at the time. They did put someone to act temporarily for a period, but there were no principal assistant secretaries like there are in other ministries. Between then and now, we now have a PS within the Ministry of Maiku.
Okay.
We now have 2 principal assistant secretaries to split the workload and assist the PS and myself across the ministry. We now have a substantive director of public utilities who can now report to these PSs. And beyond that, we now have a director of project delivery and contract management. And the reason being, when you have $7 million of capital expenditure, you could have certain people saying, okay, let me watch over this project. I deal with the procurement for that. And then, okay, from there, I deal with the project management. But things have grown at such a scale. We've brought in a dedicated person, and we are looking over the next few weeks to build out a project delivery unit within the ministry, to centralize procurement for the ministry, to centralize project management, to say that, okay, these are the various contracts, persons who are dedicated to looking at the contracts, reaching out to the contractors to make sure that they are meeting their goals and sticking to timelines. Because the reality is, the ministry, as it was, they are doing their best, Hammer, but they need support and it needs more structure. And over the past few months and over the past year, we have been slowly building out that structure to make the ministry more effective.
So in other words, you're going to have persons coming in, outsourcing certain jobs, like drafting the designs of plan designs.
So
stuff
let me speak to some of the persons that we've brought on. So Besting Consultant would have won the road rehabilitation or resurfacing contract. And to be fair, that tender went out since 2024. Why it took 2 years for that to go from tender going out till now is a different question. But now that we have them engaged, it's like we are walking along with them. Part of what we put into the contract is that they have to walk along with the roads team to help build some internal capacity so that they are better equipped in terms of dealing with asphalt roads, conducting assessments, and knowing what needs to be done in terms of maintenance to prevent the roads from failing. Beyond that, they are going to help us upgrade our materials plant within the ministry so that we can carry out analysis of asphalt on island. Currently, we have capability for concrete. In terms of BCQS, for example, and again, I find it very disingenuous. In the last House of Assembly sitting, when we were discussing the supplementary appropriation budget, the former Minister of Infrastructure would have stated that we as an administration need to be careful with BCQS because it's the same company as DCK. And that is completely not true, Hammer. And if anyone wants to look up the difference, there are 2 different companies, 2 different track records, 2 different functions in terms of what they do. The role of BCQS goes beyond quantity surveying, project management, procurement, and they play an advisory role. And he further stated that we brought in BCQS to manage all of government's capital projects. Again, Hammer, this is not true. BCQS is engaged specifically to deal with the Government of Anguilla Office Accommodation Building. Now, Hammer, the Office Accommodation Building, because I know that they're going to want to play some politics with this at some point in time, but the reality is this has been placed in the budget from as far back as 2022 or 2023. And in terms of coming into office, when we would have met with BCQS and reviewed all of the documentation that was currently on file, they've had to start from scratch. The main report that was being relied upon for the Government Office Accommodation Building was a Mark Raymond report from as far back, I think it was like 2012 or 2013. And it did not take into account the current staffing of government as well as the future staffing levels. At this time, BCQS has the data from across all of government's ministries of its current staffing levels, specialty requirements of ministries, and future staffing levels anticipated over the next 10 to 15 years. And we are expecting that soon we will have the concepts in hand, which we are going to be engaging local architects to be able to design the building. In terms of other contractors that are out there, we want to work with as many people as possible. So take, for example, the roads that we have surveyed but are not necessarily designed as yet. We are engaging with persons both within and outside of the ministry to be able to push forward with the designs, in the hopes that some of them, once we have the designs in hand, we'll be able to start construction and progressing by the end of this year. Besting Consultant, for example, what we have done is engage them for the new construction builds that we want to do in 2027. This will include the Shoal Bay Road, the North Hill Road, the Long Bay Road, to name a few. And while they are on the ground doing the rehabilitation works, they will also be working with the local surveyors to produce the designs for these roads, to produce the procurement documents, which we want to go out to tender before this year is out, so that once the 2027 budget is approved, hopefully we already have contractors dedicated so that these can go straight out to construction in the beginning of 2027. In terms of ongoing road development that is taking place right now, what we identified as priority, seeing that the airport terminal building was about to be finished, the runway was about to be expanded, and that will be one of the front and forward facing things when tourists see when they come to the island, is completing the valley block. So that road from Napa going down to the stoplight, the Raphael T. Lake Road, and then from Lake Stoplight over to the roundabout by the park. Those drawings were worked on over the past few weeks and months. Persons would know that I was given regular updates about this in government's press conference. The drawings are done, the procurement documents are done. It's now with the procurement office, and we're expecting it to go to tender shortly, if not hopefully by early next week. The whole idea is to have that procurement closed and wrapped up by July before Carnival. Now, we know the Carnival route does go through those roads, but once Carnival is done, we want to have a contractor awarded, mobilization already in place. So as soon as Carnival is done, and it won't disrupt that, construction to start taking place on those two main roads in the valley. Beyond that, some of the other tender documents, some of the other design documents that we have that we want to put out to tender, we expect to see commence by August of this year. So there's a lot of work upcoming, Hammer. And one of the things that I would have heard the previous minister say is that we would have delayed the airport runway extension. And I don't see when we've ever said that or how that could be possible. In fact, in December of last year, we put out the tender for the runway extension. It was closed in May of this year. It's currently been evaluated. A contractor has been identified, and they're currently in the phase of negotiation before signing the contract. I don't know if I should say who has been identified before the contract is signed, so I will avoid doing so. But the intention is to move forward with construction by end of August, September latest, in terms of actually starting work. The mobilization to take place between end of July and early August, and to continue throughout the rest of the year. But Hammer, once again, how can you say that we made a decision to pass the runway extension that when we came into office, you didn't have the land to extend the runway in the first place? I'm sure persons would have been paying very close attention to the fact that government went to the House of Assembly to compulsory acquire the 43.5 acres of land to the east of the runway for the expansion purposes. Now, it was known that these 43.5 acres were needed to extend the runway to 7,000 feet. However, when we got there, none of the work was done to actually get the land. So what you were going to do? Extend the runway on people's land? And that's how, if you do things incorrectly, if persons go back to the previous runway extension, that's how you end up with injunctions. That's how you end up under judicial review. That's how you end up with unforeseen delays. So the works that will begin to extend the initial runway won't actually impact the existing runway as is. And that's because you have to phase this. So there are works further east that will start, while in the interim, the ministry not only continues land acquisitions for other areas that it needs, but we also need to have discussions with the airlines, because we want to get as much work as we can done. We don't want to touch the runway just before our upcoming tourism season. But when we get to the slow season next year, and we do have to do work on the runway and connecting those two segments, the runway will have to be temporarily shortened from where it is at 5,000 feet down to 4,500 feet, which will impact airlines' abilities to come in. So the reality is, during that period, we're trying to time it so it falls between August 2027 and October 2027. That requires logistics being put in place. It requires speaking with the airlines to make sure you have scheduling down pat, and it requires working with the contractor to make sure you stick to strict timelines. So it's a bigger process than just saying, you know what, put an asphalt truck on the runway and just continue. There's a lot of scheduling and logistics that takes place. So I'm sure the minister appreciates this, but with all of this work taking place, and particularly wrapping up things that were not done that need to be done before the runway extension, I don't understand how he could say that this administration was blocking us, slowing down our chose to pass anything. In fact, we are cleaning up the work that should have been done before we got to this stage.
So tell me, at what point, though, I heard what you said about the airport extension and the need to have it done as soon as possible. Is there a time frame to commence work, though? Because I now know the courts that would have cleared the lands, and there was an injunction at some point. They went to court at some point. The bank and the owners of the Common Bay Development Area, the ruling came back and cleared the bank. Now they can proceed with the auction. So at what point do you propose, though, that we will see some stuff happening there, some work on the ground, commencing, at least even preliminary work? Yeah.
So as I would have mentioned, the contract is already in place. We've already acquired the 3.5 acres that we need, and mobilization is due to start by the end of July, with actual works due to start, whether preliminary or actual construction works, by the end of August, latest the first week in September. So that's when we're looking to see work actually start and commence. Yes.
On the ground up there, and you're going to start from the eastern end of the strip up, way up in the bush up there, back up there. You're saying further.
Yeah. So we're going to start east of the strip and go, because there's a lot of, in terms of preliminary works, as you mentioned, there's a lot of excavation that's going to need to take place. For the actual expansion of the runway, if you look at the slope of the land, it goes from very high to very low. So we're going to be taking a cut and fill approach, where you cut the material here, you fill the lower part so that you level the land, because there's a big drop off right after the run. So somewhere it's going to take a lot of material.
More than 30 feet. More than 30 feet. They look higher than 30 feet to me.
No, yeah, it takes a lot at its deepest point. So much so that the reason that it was important that we got those lands and are able to do the cut and fill approach, had we decided to import the material, we're talking about, we would have had to import around 22,000 dump truck loads of fill. And that means that after you would have commenced the works and fill that, what happens when you cut the high areas now, you'd have been in excess of 20,000 trucks to then have to try and export and get rid of. So this was the ideal solution in terms of moving forward, so that you have the necessary land, you have all of the material, it's in close proximity, so you don't have to worry about trucking through the different villages and communities, further adding stress to our roads, but congestion to our traffic. So we are looking for work to commence by end of August, early September.
And the material for the filling you're saying is in those lands right there, in the 43 acres that we are going to acquire, right?
Yes, based on the assessments I saw.
All right, okay. So, and in terms of the completion date, I know that there must be a tentative date in mind too, once we commence work in August. And what is you mentioned the season next year. Is there a tentative completion date in mind for the administration at all for the runway?
Yes, so ultimately the runway would take about 2 years, or just about over 2 years. But the thing is, the critical aspects of the work, that's the aspect that we can't get to until the season slows down next year, that we are looking for around August 2027, to do between August 27 and October 2027. Once those critical works are out of the way, we can say within a year and a half of that. So what we're looking at right now is late 2028, early 2029 for actual completion.
All right. Now, airport, that's one part of it, folks. We're hearing that now. And of course, as I said to listeners before some time ago, that that would be a game changer for Anguilla, because we have already seen the Bermuda Air effect on Anguilla, along with Americans. This year was a mass, bumper year for Anguilla. We've seen how they all worked out there. We heard the numbers you mentioned that came via Bermuda Air as well. I saw St. Martin, all the folks from St. Martin came to St. Martin, coming to Anguilla to get back out of here as well. So that worked for us. We heard that.
It definitely did work. And just for the clarification, Hammer, because even before coming here, I saw a strong supporter of the APM saying, Jose, don't go there and report those numbers. I stayed there and I count the people. It's impossible that I had that much people. The actual reality, Hammer, is you could still see and feel the economic impact. And what we're looking at doing with the upcoming winter season is expand beyond that. And let me just say now, there will be no kind of any arrangement to do with anything with seats. Let me just make that abundantly clear. But as you'd have heard discussed, and as was recently announced by Bermudia at a recent major airline conference that they went to, for the upcoming season, not only will we continue flights from Boston, Newark, and Baltimore. Boston and Newark were our strongest performers, so we're going to add increased frequency of flights from those two markets with an additional flight that comes in and stops first in Provo and then connects onward to Anguilla. We are going to be supporting flights from Tampa, Florida, again to Provo to Anguilla, so that's a new route that persons could take from a different area of Florida. We are going to have connectivity to two specialist markets, Belize and Toronto. So we're going to be marketing heavily the Toronto route. So you can get directly from Toronto to Anguilla. It will require one stop in Provo, but you will not be required to get off the plane. And via Tampa, you can fly from Belize, Tampa, Provo to Anguilla, or vice versa. So now you can fly from Anguilla and get to Tampa, to Provo, to Belize, to Toronto, to Boston, Newark, and Baltimore, all without having to go to St. Martin. You can leave right from here. And this also opens up Anguilla to markets from new places because it's easier for them to get here. And let's not forget the branding, because on these planes has Anguilla.
Anguilla.
Exactly, and I think that has been a brilliant promotion. The numbers have shown that coming out of the new markets, we have 80% new passengers traveling through there, showing that it's not necessarily pulling from America and other roads to get here. This is newly stimulated travel. So we look forward to not only the continued partnership, but even greater performance that would be mutually beneficial, not only for Bermuda, but for Anguilla, its people, and for our connectivity within the region. Having attended Roots recently with the ministry, we are entertaining conversations with a number of airlines that are excited and looking forward to coming to Anguilla. But the reality is, Hammer, when people ask, well, why invest further in this relationship with Bermuda? These airlines that are excited and ready and willing to come to Anguilla, most of them will not fly to any destination with a runway less than 6,000 feet. So the moment that runway extension is completed, the floodgates will open wide. But until then, work with who you have in terms of being able to maximize the capacity and potential for our tourism market. We have shattered arrival numbers month after month. In fact, we had some days that back-to-back the airport was breaking records. So if we want to continue to grow that spin-off effect, if we want to continue to grow access to Anguilla, persons knowing about Anguilla, getting here easy, and ultimately build upon our tourism sector, this is an investment, Hammer, and one that I am confident will work out in the best interest of the people of Anguilla.
So, the buzzword around here is minimum revenue guarantees. We're hearing that all the time. When I spoke to you some ago, you said there was none of that happening. And the gentleman himself, the owner of the company, was here too. He said, no, that's not the case. And so, are we paying them money? And if you're paying them money, what's that money for? What is it all about? Because, I mean, you said that there's no minimum revenue guarantees at all being offered here. Are we paying them any money at all for any services?
So I'll speak to the first agreement. Yes. Again, there was no minimum revenue guarantee. Based on the numbers and projections, the flight has the capacity to bring in, it has 96 seats. But they were saying based on certain weight restrictions, depending, they may only be able to carry 70 persons, meaning 20 seats may have been unsellable. Now, what we did is saying that if there's a case where 20 seats are unsellable and they actually just can't be sold, we will subsidize 10 seats and they will subsidize 10, or take the loss on 10. That is not the same as a minimum revenue guarantee, Hammer. And of the money that was budgeted, so take for example, that subsidy only applied to 2 routes. It was not all 3 routes. It applied to Newark and Boston. Had the flights indeed been coming in empty and government had to subsidize every seat along that way, it would have come at an ultimate cost of about $667,000 for our subsidy. They would have also taken a loss of that same amount because it would have been 50-50 in terms of risk sharing. Now, what was actually spent was less than half of that hammer because the flights were performing and coming in full. Every month we saw the economic impact go up and up and up. So in terms of what was agreed to for subsidy, we didn't even spend half of that. And the other funds that were given to them was in marketing promotion, which is not new. Marketing promotions are entered into. They had some with American Airlines, they had some with Silver Airways. It's not something that's new to the market, and it's usually done to promote new routes. So of the monies that are in the agreement for the upcoming winter season, there are no subsidies on seats on any of the routes. There's no exclusivity on any of the routes. There's no minimum revenue guarantee on any of the routes. All of the money that will be put forward that will be given to the Anguilla Tourist Board is to share a cooperative marketing agreement between the Tourist Board and Bermudia. Literally just marketing initiatives to make sure the word gets out there, bookings perform strong, and that we get as much heads in beds as possible. So any money is strictly for marketing, and not marketing of one route, not marketing of some routes, marketing of Boston, Newark, Baltimore, Provo, Tampa, Belize, and Toronto.
You know, when we spoke to the guy last time he was in here in studio with us, the owner of the company, he mentioned Anguillans who were looking for might be on board as as crew, as air hostess, etc. Is he still in that frame of mind? We're looking to hire a few Anguillans on board. He mentioned it here at the program the last time.
Yes, he's very eager to. He wants Anguillians to be a part of the flight crew, and he's very eager to get his first Anguillian pilot on board.
Okay, good. All right, we're hearing that. All right, now back to the rules briefly. I know that the former administration had, in fact, would have said they intend to pave dirt roads out of existence. That was a comment.
Eradicate dirt roads?
Altogether, that's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. In fact, in the House of Assembly, that was said by the member from Road South. They will eradicate all the roads in Anguilla, and they had a plan apparently for that. Now, I'm seeing chip and seal around here. Is that being considered as part of our plan going forward? And how do we intend to address the dirt roads? We have a plan for that as well?
Well, Hammer, you mentioned that the previous administration had a plan for that. I'm not sure what their plan was. I don't know if the plan was to put down concrete everywhere, but I haven't seen a written plan or anything on paper beyond saying we eradicating dirt roads. One of the things that we would have invested in, again out of the cost savings of 2025, was a chip and seal machine and spreader for the government of Anguilla that has recently been finished being put together, and now we just need persons from the ministry to go up and inspect the vehicle, ensure it's working, check on the calibration of it before giving approval for it to be shipped. In addition to this, we see that Synergy now has the capability to do chip and seal roads Anguilla. So we've been meeting with Synergy. They've been doing a few tests, and one of the things that we are looking to do with them is identify a test road where Government of Anguilla partner with them, and we prepare the base, and then they do the chip and seal to demonstrate the capability and prove the concept before going further on. So despite Synergy having their machinery on island and Government of Anguilla bringing in a chip and seal machine, the idea is not to say, we just only utilize government's machine. We have Synergy, we have government, and if anybody else were to invest in, we want to get all machines working. That is the actual plan for how you will actually eradicate the dirt roads. Because unless you're going to put concrete on all of the dirt roads, we don't have the asphalt capability. So unless you're going to bring in somebody to pay them to asphalt all of the side roads, this is the most cost-effective and the most pragmatic, the most feasible way to actually move quickly and address these roads in the communities, the roads that actually impact persons, and keep it in a condition. Because we see, Hammer, throughout the island, there are a number of chip and seal roads that have stood the test of time and gone over a decade.
Right here by me, next door.
Exactly.
This road's been here for more than 10 years.
So while we're looking at rehabilitating the main roads, the class 1 roads, and have them as asphalt, some of them you may be better suited doing concrete, but we know concrete takes so long to cure. But for these community roads and side roads, the dirt roads that goes to these communities, well, Operation Chip and Seal, they can't take claim for that, but that's what's coming, because this is our actual plan to eradicate dirt roads. And Hammer, going back to concrete roads, when Beston was here doing their initial consulting, they raised a concern. And this is why I think we have to be very careful in terms of not just getting things done, but ensuring that we get them done right in the proper way. We were trying to figure out, as an administration, the difference between asphalt and concrete. And they said, really and truly, other than they can walk out to casting the same thing. With an asphalt road, you can definitely get it rolled out much faster, and it's better for rideability. So in terms of if you want a smooth ride over time for a very highly traffic road, they would prefer asphalt because concrete smooths. But they were saying in terms of the life of the road, asphalt would typically give you about 20 years, which if you don't maintain it, you don't rehabilitate it, it will fail. And that's what we've seen across our road networks. It's been about 20 years since the road network was done. There's been very minimal rehabilitation taking place, very little maintenance. So as a result, a number of the roads are now failing. Concrete now, if properly maintained, they said, it could be utilized for long term and it would last as long as 30 years if properly maintained and taken care of. But Hammer, when you drive through the Valley Road, and the Valley Road, I'm very grateful that the previous administration got it done. That road needed to be fixed, and it was something that political parties over the years would tout and talk about. But when you drive through the Valley Road today, Hammer, there are a number of places that are showing cracks. There are a number of places that have like little holes covered. There are a number of pits.
There by Netties, some time ago they worked on that before. It's now back to the same state where it's chipping out and it's being dug out again. I don't know what's happening there, but it's happening again.
So here's the issue. When they say that concrete should give you at least 30 years, they said there's no way that within a period of 3 years you should be seeing that level of cracking or that level of deterioration on a road that was just put in. So when Beston comes back, one of the things that they will be doing is carrying out an analysis of that road to figure out why is it faulting, why is it cracking, and how can that be prevented going forward. But that just goes to show, Hammer, it's about ensuring that you do things the proper way to make sure that the return on investment you get lasts the 20 to 30 years is expected rather than starting to deteriorate early.
Yeah, very early o'clock. Seen that happening there. All right. Now, in terms of I hear you on that. So roads are covered. So the operation Chip and Seal is coming. That's a good thing to hear for Dr. Roads and Anguillas. That's your eradication program response.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we agree with eradicating dirt roads, but we actually have a plan, which is Operation Chip and Seal.
Chip and Seal. That's coming for sure. And the airport is on track. You mentioned that, and so we're back on that now for sure. And mobilization time, July, August. Basically, that's the time to mobilize. You're saying, and
with work to commence by the end of August, first week in September latest.
Yep, so we're hearing that now, and the government administration building has been around for the talk for some time now. You have outsourced the consultants for that. Would you outsource what to Best?
They are the consultants who would essentially be doing the project management of it. Okay. So they're currently designing the concepts. They will be working with local architects to do the design. But then when it comes to like the preparation of the procurement documents, ensuring that the tenders go out, managing the different contractors to ensure the project gets done. It's similar to what took place with Avia in terms of developing the airport terminal, while Kelly and Aecon would have been the contractors. Avia was the project manager on behalf of government. But one of the things that we would have made abundantly clear to BCQS is that we have a number of talented local contractors. And we also have talented local architects, which is why we specified that we want local architects to design the building. But we also emphasize that we want local contractors to take part in the development and the building of this.
And okay, so folks, you are hearing that. You're hearing that here, right here on Class FM. So folks, it's about to happen. So for persons though who are inquiring about why it's happening, is it safe to say this is the biggest infrastructure development project budgets for Anguilla in the history of Anguilla? This is a big one. This is the biggest one. That's why we're bringing these people to bear. All these things are happening because someone said to me a while ago that we are somewhat creating a department, bringing all of these people into Anguilla. But the fact is that they're coming because we don't have the manpower.
The thing is, if we want the department to be able to deliver, we need to give them the support, the resources to be able to do so. So take, for example, with Beston Consultant coming in for the road rehabilitation program, one of the things I said that they will be working to build capacity within the department. Right now, the materials lab does not have any equipment for the actual testing of asphalt. We do not have persons within the ministry trained in the testing of asphalt. So all of that will be a transfer of knowledge to help them ongoing to be able to develop these skills. And beyond that, yes, this is the biggest capital budget. As I said, 2022 it was $7 million, 2026 is $233 million, but you're asking the same persons to now deliver across a much broader scope without giving them the resources. So let me give you an example that took place just yesterday. One ministry called me to follow up on some designs that they were expecting a few days ago. And so I asked them who was the person in charge of delivering the designs, and they told me. So I went to that person and I said, oh, this ministry is reaching out to me. They really want to get these out to tender, but they're saying that the designs are late and was supposed to come in a few days ago from you. And he said, well, Minister, I was working on that as a matter of priority. But this ministry also called me and said that this is priority for them. Where are these drawings? So he says it gets a bit confusing where you now have one person responsible and you have 3-4 different people calling you, all of them saying priority. Now, beyond that, the actual architectural drawings for those 3 different projects were done. However, what's needed before it goes to tender, for example, is the MEP drawings, the mechanical, engineering, and plumbing. We don't have anyone within the ministry right now who does the electrical drawing. So what the ministry does is it currently leans upon the electrical inspector that sits over by lands and planning. And remember, he has his own functions to do. He has to go and inspect and approve lines. So in an effort to assist the ministry in his free time, he now does the electrical drawings to now submit back to the ministry so that they can provide the different ministries. So we're talking about, we understand we have the money available. Everyone wants it overnight. We want to deliver, but we are asking these persons to stretch themselves not only beyond what their job description asks them to do, but into their free time and things that they're not being compensated for. And there's only so much work you can squeeze out of one person before they start experiencing things like burnout and getting control. So if you're talking about increasing the capital expenditure budget by over 33 times what it was just 5 years ago, we need to talk about bringing on persons. And we don't necessarily want to inflate the budget, because ultimately some of these projects are short term, but if you can bring in experts who are specialized in this to provide the support and in the process upskill those within the ministry while we continue to work on the restructuring and build out that project delivery unit, build out the needs of the various departments to ensure that they have the capacity in-house, then things will be much smoother in the years to come.
Okay, so you're saying to me now, because I heard a person say things are dead in Angola, not much is happening, but you're telling me now from what you're saying, sometime this year later, we can expect to see an uptick in activity around Angola, infrastructure projects.
Within infrastructural projects, per se, I disagree with persons who say that there are not things happening in Angola. Persons may be looking for visuals, but then again, you know that there are certain detractors that it's their job to go out and say, oh, things aren't happening. They can watch a full plane come in and say, oh, nobody was on the plane.
And they count them with their pads in their hand. Okay, but what you're saying to me right now is that come after Carnival, from what you're saying to me right now, we should be able to visualize some activity around here.
Indeed, Hammer.
Infrastructure development.
Yes, Hammer.
What you're saying. So the tap will open after Carnival, you're saying.
Oh yes, and we're also not only working on for the rest of the year. As I said, we already started the forward planning, getting the designs prepared, then which would follow immediately with the procurement documents to go out to tender, because you know procurement process is 6 to 8 weeks on its own. So by starting that this year and getting all of that out of the way by the end of the year, that work starting August going to roll straight into 2027, and this is what we're doing. We're improving the workflows. So it's just that a lot of things were being done very inefficiently and ineffectively. So take, for example, we had to revamp how we go about getting insurance for vehicles, because what you were finding was you would import a vehicle, and then only once the vehicle is on island, then you start preparing procurement documents to then send to get insurance for the vehicle. So the vehicle ends up sitting down there for 2 months, not doing anything, on a good month, if the procurement go through. And then if procurement wants it to be sole source versus competitive, all of that can delay the process. But the reality is, the moment you purchase that vehicle, before it's even shipped, you can start working on the procurement documents in tandem and submit, so that by the time the vehicle is landed, you have approval and you can go straight into utilizing the resources. So in other words, there are a lot of workflows that have inefficiencies that we've been working to remedy.
Government administration complex, you mentioned that work is happening there right now. So when should we expect to see some, actual, shovels in the ground going on around there? Is there tentative?
So as I said, BCQS currently has all of the information from the ministry and putting together the initial documents for review of the government. Subject to approval, that will move to the stage of the architectural designs. But fast forwarding in terms of timelines, we are hoping that at least by the end of the year, we should have demolition and preparatory works. underway, construction to start next year.
All right. Now, quickly, I know I have you here, and I have to get you out of here too. But in terms of AI now, that's our big revenue earner. That's our bread and butter right now. She's to date in revenues collection so far, and where are we now in terms of those funds, or where are we? Yeah.
Well, Hammer, it feels good to know that over the years I've been saying this is coming, and to finally see the wave finally reach. Because if it were not for the AI funds and the buffer that it provides, the relief measures that we're putting in place, the things that we've put in place in the supplementary budget, and we haven't even touched that, the 10 million to Anglic and what that means, a lot of that wouldn't be possible. And the people of Anguilla would be feeling a lot more of the effects of the war in Iran, the rising cost of fuel and the cost of electricity. But as it pertains to .ai, we've been seeing very good growth. As you know, we would have hosted our first AI conference earlier this year, and we are getting ready between June 21st and June 24th to host our second AI conference. This one will be in partnership between the Ministry of Infrastructure, Communications, Utilities, House and IT, along with the Anguilla House of Assembly and the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. So we'll be bringing together. It's going to be an AI workshop that brings together legislators and leaders from around the Commonwealth to discuss the progression of AI. And seeing that the House of Assembly has recently adopted its AI website with the real-time prescription Hansard, we are trying to find ways to put Anguilla at the forefront of the digital transformation development, not only within the region, but within the world. To be able to further this some more, currently working on proposals with different persons, teams to come in and conduct an AI readiness evaluation for Anguilla to help chart the way forward for our digital transformation agenda. But beyond that, we are continuing to figure out ways that we can continue to market Anguilla, continue to grow the AI space and adoption there for further strength. As of March 1st of this year, we would have increased the price of a domain from $140 for 2 years to $160, which will further strengthen the increase because of our 2-year cycle. The rest of this year will continue to show very strong adoption. But in 2027, not only as a result of the increased step, but when renewals come into effect, we should see a sharp increase in AI revenues again in 2027. So AI is looking very good. The model forecasts between now and 2029, which I'm keeping a very close eye on, are looking very strong. So as we continue to build out our aviation sector, as we continue to get more tourists to come in and contribute to our economy, and simultaneously work on that AI aspect, I'm looking forward to seeing Anguilla realize that vision of being a $1 billion economy.
All right. But in terms of collection so far, so you have an idea as to what we would, I'm not sure we'll walk with that today, but I roughly estimate.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I have not received the figures yet for May. April was $35 million. March was our highest at about $38 million. I believe February was also, I think that might have been 32 million, with January being about 25 million. So we are far ahead of projections, and we have no reason to believe that that trend will not continue, not only into the near future, but into the exponential step that will come in 2027 with the renewal aspect coming into play.
CCTVs, I know that cameras, you're working on that as well, and I know that a tender was awarded, that there was a signing, and I know that you said would have won that, that contract. I am aware of that. Are we rolling out already? Is it already being deployed? Where are we with the CCTV rollout here in Anguilla?
Yes, so just yesterday afternoon, I was able to sit in on a meeting between the ministry along with the project manager to get an update. So the Joint Emergency Control Room will be shifting to where the Financial Intelligence Unit used to be, and we're going to reconfigure that space. So that will essentially be like a joint command center where the 911 calls come in, where all of the services can be dispatched from, but it will also have the monitoring room to plug in the CCTV. So we have done some walkthroughs. We have the mock-ups of the concepts. Digicel is currently in the process of procuring the items to get on the ground, and they are walking through and preparing some of the sites. So the plan is not necessarily to wait until you have all of the equipment prep, all 30 sites, and then go from there, because it's about 30 sites in the initial contract. It's about saying, particularly with Carnival coming up shortly, what are the key sites that we need to get up and running to support Carnival? Now, We do have a backup CCTV plan in place for Carnival. The police was doing that in anticipation of just in the event this wasn't ready. But in terms of our smart cameras, the ones with the number plate recognition, the ones that will be AI enabled and help us to better track patterns and do the monitoring, the full rollout is expected to be completed by October of this year.
All right. Now, in Blind Point, we mentioned our airport and the seaports are also very important. And I would have said in my many commentaries the need for us to acquire as much land as possible around ports. In Blind Point, a very unique situation is unfolding there, where lands were once acquired by government. They were handed back to owners who would have done other transactions. Now we're having some built development in close proximity to the port. I'm seeing that happening quite a bit there. And a port must be a very safe environment. I'm sure these things would have crossed your table. We're now seeing a development that's now happening right in front of the Blind Point terminal. Are these things occupying your ministries, time at this time, or are you seeing these things? Of course, you're seeing them, but are we considering these situations, these things?
Yes, Hammer, and you said a very unique situation at the port. I would describe it as a very unfortunate situation at the port, because as you'd have mentioned, those lands were already vested in the Crown. They would have been acquired since back in the days of Mr. Curtis Richardson. So to see the former administration come in and give back those lands, that is the direct result of why we're in the situation we're in now. When you acquire lands, it's supposed to be as a last resort. You can't necessarily say that, I'm just going to go take up your land. You have to demonstrate it's for public purpose. It's a very tedious legal process where you better dot your I's and cross your T's. So to see that government had successfully gone through that process and had then made the decision to give it back, first of all, that makes it exponentially harder for government to get it again. Because the courts will say, you said you wanted it for public purpose, but then you gave it back. That means you didn't really need it. So it makes it harder for you to demonstrate public purpose when it's obvious that land around a port is key land for not only future expansion and development. Beyond that, what it means is it places a harder regulatory requirement on the port itself, because when the port is regulated, there are supposed to be certain buffer zones in place. Now, we already didn't have much room for buffer zones. For persons who are not aware, the original design of the port was supposed to be 35,000 square feet. The actual developed port is less than 17,000 square feet. So it's less than half of the footprint of what should have been there. That in and of itself should let you know that any land around there that you have in hand for expansion, seeing that you don't scale the project so much, you need to keep for expansion. Now that that project is ongoing, what it means is that the buffer zones around the port will have to be increased. So as a result, where right now we have members of the general public being able to drive in private vehicles and drop off, etc., that will have to come to an end. Based on the regulator, you're going to have to now park up at the head of the road by the parking lot and have guests either walk down or walk from there up. And so there are a few other regulatory aspects, but in terms of if it's something that has come across my ministry, it's something that I speak with very often with the Minister of Lands, Honorable Kyle Hodge, and that we discuss in Cabinet. But the reality of the situation is by giving back the lands, you give the private land owner leverage against government. So the only way to get it back at this point would essentially be to meet their needs based on what they ask for. And I know that this is a very litigious situation at the moment. I hear that liar letters flying about the place, so I'll be very cautious.
It's happening already?
I'll be very cautious as to what I say on this matter.
Okay.
But it's either we take what the landowner wants, whether we as a government determine is that actual value for money for the people of Anguilla based on what we are getting and what they asked for? Or do we just understand that it's an unfortunate situation that because they gave it back, it's their land, they have the rights, and they have planning permission, we have no legal authority to stop them.
But you made a point I want to go about port security. I mean, that is a big issue as well, port security and regulations. Around ports in the world, you have buffers, as you said a while ago there, and that is very close to the port, right in front of the door.
But when you really think about it, Hammer, and I have no reason to believe that the landowner there would have any nefarious purposes, but think about if they decide to put cameras on their building. Their cameras are immediately now in the vicinity of monitoring the port. Depending on how high that building goes, they might be able to see who's coming to and from the port. At the very least, once guests come out, their cameras are tracking all of that. You don't know who that data is getting to. You don't know what risk that may pose. And so at the end of the day, it's very unfortunate situation all around.
All right, but I suspect that things are happening. They're having conversations, I believe, about that situation, right now.
The conversations right now are being led by the Minister of Lands, yes.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so folks, ANGLEC, before you go, ANGLEC, the Middle East crisis is really and truly testing all of us across the Caribbean, the world, actually. The price of oil is fluctuating in Angola. Government had to rush to our help, really, because the cost of oil and the cost of living is ramping up as well. Renewable energy for ANGLEC, we know that ANGLEC would have had a CDBA-approved loan, and it's taking some time to get that going. Is there a plan, really, to fast-track renewables for ANGLEC right now on the table?
Yes, there is indeed a plan. I'm sure that you would have heard the chairman of ANGLEC say before that the plan with CDB was supposed to take place over the course of 2 years. We have since spoken with CDB. I spoke with the president myself, and at a recent engagement where the premier and him were both present, she also got to speak with him directly, and we made it clear that 2 years is far too long. And so plans are being put in place to see what can be done to actually get this fast-tracked more to a 1 year time scale. In terms of moving forward, I believe, based on my latest update from the chairman of ANGLEC, that WSP, the technical consultants who are coming in to design the solar farm, should be on the ground within the next week or two, following which we can see some more motion on that. One of the things I want to speak about when we speak about the war in Iran and the impact. So the government of Angola has stepped in. We know that before the war popped off, the fuel surcharge was at 42 cents, and we would have capped it. ANGLEC proposed to increase it to 88 cents. We would have made the decision to step in and cap it for businesses at 65 cents and absorb the cost beyond that, and cover the full increase beyond 42 cents for local consumers so that they don't feel the cost. Now, the fuel surcharge has needed to go up again to $1.04. Again, government has stepped in, and we continue to fill that gap. Now, the message that I want to get out to the people of Anguilla is, while the government is stepping in and filling this gap, and I know persons are thinking, oh, AI revenues are performing very strong, this is unsustainable in the long term. And that means that each and every one of us have a responsibility to monitor our consumption. So take, for example, Hammer. When we were looking at the first fuel relief measure for ANGLEC, we based on the consumption last year, where central government, all domestic accounts, all businesses would have consumed 8.1 million kilowatts of energy. Not even taking government into account, remove government, the domestic accounts alone this August used 8.3 million kilowatts, which means that even outside of government, we have significantly increased our usage. And then when we look at the numbers that just came out last month again, I don't know if it's because government is covering the difference and people are not feeling the full brunt of it. We have again increased our usage. Now I know that we're going into the hotter months. But Lord, this year ain't that much hotter than last year. But the one thing that has changed is the cost of fuel given the geopolitical situation. So I want to severely encourage everyone to do their duty. The more energy you conserve, the less energy we spend, the less money we spend on this, the longer we can run this relief, the more it can be sustainable. But lock off your lights when you're leaving home. Don't run the AC and fan unnecessarily. If you're going up the road for hours, turn it off. Look at your consumption patterns and let's work together to make sure that we can effectively manage this global crisis. Now, speaking to ANGLEC, one of the things that I was very happy to see in the supplementary appropriation that took place earlier this week was $10 million allocated to ANGLEC.
Oh, yeah.
And so let me speak a bit to that $10 million to ANGLEC. We know that the previous administration, when bringing Water Corporation under central government, there were some outstanding bills and debt owed to ANGLEC for electricity consumption. Some of those funds were written off, with the remainder, about $10 million, to be paid back to ANGLEC on a monthly basis. Every month they would pay $100,000 to ANGLEC with no interest. And that means you have $10 million outstanding where you're getting only $100,000 a month and no interest. Now, not even the Chinese government does lend on such favorable terms.
1%.
So that's really and truly shows an abuse of Anglic, because as they're getting their money on a slow basis and you're looking at the rate of inflation, the money they get is being devalued, and as time passes on, that 100,000 is being devalued every payment. And when we're talking about in the heart of a renewable energy transition, when they are being asked to transition, take on loan obligations, and help us in this fight to bring relief to the people of Angola, we felt it unfair that government put them in such a situation. So there was an outstanding balance, I believe, of about $7 to $7.1 million that was remaining on that debt. We would have paid it to them upfront to clear that balance, to give them the liquidity, the leverage, and the breathing room to be able to utilize their resources as they see fit to help us quickly transition to renewables. The remaining 2.9 or 3 million was in relation to the outstanding streetlights bill. Now, we know that when Anglic and the previous administration were in contention, and probably after Anglic had locked off the current junior government press conference, there tended to be a bit of a battle, and the government of the day took the stance that, according to the Electricity Act, and the Electricity Act was drafted in 2001, talking about a piece of legislation there that is 25 years old, when Anguilla only had about 200 streetlights on Anglic's bill, and now has over 2,000 streetlights. It was determined in the Electricity Act that government would not pay based on usage. They will just pay a flat fee of $120,000 per year. Now, when you go from 200 to 2,000, the actual $120,000 can't cover government's the streetlight bill for 2 months. But you're asking the utility to take the burden and take the loss of operating it for the remaining 10 months. And that's unconscionable, because the street lights is not there as a public service to Anglic. They are in partnership with government to provide it for public interest to the government, for the people of Anguilla. So we thought it only right that while we will make a step to amend the legislation so that the billing that government pays is reflective of the actual usage of the street lights, that we will make them whole for the outstanding amount. Again, to extend that olive branch, because I get calls daily. All of the other elected members get calls daily, and particularly in light of gun crime and violence, the place is too dark.
Way too dark.
But if government refuses to meet Anglic halfway and meet their obligations, Anglic was right to take a stance to not install streetlights. So now that this payment will be made to them, even ahead of the legislation being amended, they will start to go through a backlog of streetlight applications in Hammer. These go back as far as 2023, 2024. So long before the previous administration leave office, this pile was growing. So you can imagine a year later, it's only continued to grow. But we need to light up the place, Hammer, not only for the safety of persons, for road safety of drivers driving at night, but just to make sure that even for our tourists coming to Anguilla, that the place is not so dark. So we look forward to, over the next coming months, working with Anglic to progress getting rid of that backlog and lighting up Anguilla.
All right. So government will pay more to light for those lights to go in place now.
Well, we would have paid the existing bill, and what we are agreeing to is paying for actual usage. Now, Hammer, even though the legislation said 120,000. The actual practice had been over the recent years, government was actually paying based on their usage, despite the legislation saying something else. But when Anglic and the government got into their little contention, I guess government being somewhat spiteful, for lack of a better word, say, you know what, in fact, we don't need to pay you any more than this, we ain't paying you a dime more. And Hammer, that's just wrong, because ultimately, Anglic will either have to carry that as a loss, which means that you're messing with the viability of the company, or if I was Anglic, what else do you do if government you pass it on to your customers? So by government not paying their fair share, we're asking the people of Anguilla to pay more, and that's just wrong, Hammer. If the people are expected to pay their fair share, the government of Anguilla should too. And really and truly, it shows that what can be achieved when you just have collaboration and you sit down and discuss as partners. Take, for example, the previous Minister of Infrastructure likes to tout, they say this, they say that, but it's not true. What about the fact that we kept on being told that Anglic can get a loan from CDB? government would have to take contingent liability. The UK won't do that. We heard about this for years, Hammer. But guess what? Weeks after coming into office, speak to the president of CDB, a couple months later, wow, you have an agreement. It shows that that was not true, Hammer. All CDB wanted was a blessing from the government to say, you are okay in Anglic moving in this direction. And beyond that, Hammer, I want to make a point. Because the former premier, in his debate in the supplementary budget earlier in the week, he would have said that had the government gone the PPA route, we would not be in the situation that we are in today with dealing with increased fuel costs. But Hammer, them spend more than 2 years fighting with Anglic versus PPA versus CBD loan. But my point that I would want to stress is had the former premier, had the former administration not fought with Anglic between 2020 and 2025, Anglic could have been, if not 80% fully renewable right now, and we would not be feeling the burden that we are feeling right now. So yes, the PPA was an option, but how about if we had worked with the utility, we would have had renewables, and all of those profits would have stayed local, because remember, Anglic is 100% locally owned. Why do we need to bring in a foreigner to sell us energy from our own sun? And beyond that, look at what took place during Hurricane Irma, when 95% of our distribution poles went down. Had we had done a PPA, the third party gonna come in, set up, generate power, and sell it to Anglic that's responsible for distributing it. God forbid another Irma were to come and the distribution gets knocked down, but the sun's still shining 2 days later and they are able to generate, we have to still pay. And once bitten, twice shy, Hammer. That's irresponsible, because look at the situation we ended up in with Water Corporation. Seven Seas generates. It doesn't matter that 80% of what they generate gets lost in leaks or non-revenue water. Every drop that they do from generation has to be paid for.
It's metered and you have to pay for it.
So ultimately, if we learn that if we in charge of distribution, we might as well be in charge of generation. So we learn from the Water Corporation, and this is the most responsible way for government to transition to renewable energies.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now. All right. So folks, just about 19 down one. So Minister Vanderpool, we've been at for a little bit while here. Are there other areas that you want to quickly brush before we ease out of here? I know that we touched quite a bit today. Anglic, you touched on the issues of government vehicle refleeting programs. We touched on the road network. We touched on also on the airport development, the expansion of the runway. We touched those areas today. The asphalt, yes, eradication program is coming. Not asphalt, the chip and seal response is coming for dirt roads in Anguilla. We touched on that as well. These areas are very important areas. Anything else we should talk about? Bermuda Air, Anguilla Air program, AI is operating well. Anything else you wish to touch before we ease out?
Nothing that immediately comes to mind, Hammer, but if there's anything that comes up and you would like me to come, you know that I'm always available. It's always a pleasure to not only visit your station, but to have an opportunity to speak to the people of Anguilla, especially when it comes to clearing the air from misconceptions that are put out there, because too often we have persons that are trying to misinform and mislead the people of Anguilla into believing things that are simply not true. I just want to reiterate from the people of Anguilla from District 1 to District 7, it's truly an honor and a privilege to serve, to work on your behalf, and myself, along with this administration, under the leadership of the Honorable Premier, Mrs. Cora Richardson Hodge, we will continue to lead. We will continue to do the right thing. We'll continue to ignore the noise, because there's a lot of noise out there. But ultimately, we will continue to put people first.
All right. And you said that the infrastructure tap will open up sometime after Carnival, for sure. You're saying that.
Just wait and see, Hammer.
All right. Mr. Minister, thank you, sir. Again, I wish you all the best. Thanks for coming, okay?
Thank you for your time.
All right. So, folks, someday ahead, folks, and our Class FM Thursday afternoon sit-down discussion with Minister of Infrastructure, Joseph Vanderpool, here on Class FM, Radio 92.9. So we would have that comprehensive roundup there on the issues affecting and in fact occurring in that department, his ministry. You heard it. We have covered quite a bit here this afternoon, and I hope that you found that conversation, that presentation of interest to you, the people of Anguilla. A couple of points he made, very strong points he made. Among them is that he would have said it here to you, this is the biggest infrastructure budget in the history of Anguilla, and he mentioned, for those who have been saying things that that they intend to roll out, they are to the point where they intend to roll out come July, August with the infrastructure development. He also would have mentioned for dirt roads in Anguilla, a specific question I would have posed about that. He mentioned that they intend to eradicate dirt roads in Anguilla using chip and seal. Chip and seal is what we have here on the road outside Class FM. Those roads can last a very long time. They intend to pave those roads using chip and seal here in our country, Anguilla. He would have mentioned that they also have a machine that they bought recently, a truck and some machines for that as well. He mentioned that Synergy Construction also have a chip and seal plant in Anguilla, and that they intend to commence work on those roads as well. So quite a bit he spoke about the issue in Blowing Point by the port, where there's a development happening right next to the Blowing Point terminal. He would have said the Minister of Lands, Kyle Hodge, is leading that conversation in that regard as well. He also would have mentioned, I asked him specifically about the Bermuda-Anguilla arrangement. He would have said that, that there's no minimum revenue guarantee, but they would have subsidized some seats because of a load factor. But he mentioned that come next season, there'll be no subsidies at all coming from the airline. He would have said all of that. The issue of the vehicles here in Anguilla, he would have gone to great length to explain. He brought me papers as well to show that this was already in progress. This would have been stuff seen by the former minister when he was there, and it is indeed a government of Anguilla, not ministers of government, but a government system strategy program that they are refitting the program that they would have launched some years ago, and that is continuing. He also mentioned they bought 6 new school buses at a tune of $250,000 a piece. They bought 6 new ones that they should be in Anguilla before the start of September. And he also mentioned that there's a box truck coming for the post office. They also mentioned that police have vehicles coming as well. And these are all part of the government of Anguilla's and MICU vehicle fleet exercise program. That's what they're having right now. All right, so quite a bit we learned today here on Class FM, and this is what we do. We sit with policymakers and other people of interest to really and truly get information for you over there, because information is key, and we should be informed as to what's happening in our society. So, folks, thank you for your time. I'll catch you from next week, Thursday, God's willing, from this Thursday sit-down discussion platform, and we thank you. We thank you for listening. Class FM here in the afternoon time, and so right now we are 24 minutes down after the 1 o'clock hour. Gotta get me out of here, and I want to thank you again for being here. So Josie Van de Poel, he would have been very thorough with information here today, right? So folks, thank you. Peace and love. You hold this fight you got, man. Class FM radio. Very thorough. He will be doing everything quickly for you. So hold the spot. Class FM here in the afternoon time.
Identity Digital Inc. requests for proposals for .ai Community Outreach, RFP. Identity Digital, the registry operator for the .ai top-level domain, is pleased to invite proposals for a comprehensive outreach and community engagement program. This program was developed in partnership with the Government of Anguilla and seeks to promote initiatives that strengthens Anguilla's reputation through credible, locally grounded storytelling and initiatives, support education and digital literacy, encourage innovation and local business participation, promote sustainable economic and social impact with measurable local outcomes, with an overarching recognition that .ai is not only a global technology identifier, but a vital strategic asset for the island's national development. We are seeking qualified organizations to design and implement initiatives that translate the global success of .ai into tangible, lasting value for the people of Anguilla. The program